Okay, and here we are. And I go for a cup of Joe.
Oh.
A fat, tall cup of coffee, if that was confusing. In case that caught you off guard.
It did. I didn't hear that I could go for a, and I was just like, you have one?
Uh-oh.
Dude, is that Joe? Jesus.
Oh, nothing like using a metal straw and... Oh, I hate myself. I just said straw.
Straw.
Like a metal straw and a metal cup for a podcast.
At least you don't say acrossed.
Oh, man, catch me on a bad day.
I was listening to an audiobook the other day, and they said acrossed, and I was like, maybe it's the girl's accent.
Yeah. I mean, listen, sometimes things happen, but not intentionally. Like, I don't have to make an effort for that one, but I'm sure I've done it a time or two. Yeah. And I'm like, ugh. Just like straw. What was that about?
That's just like your southern drawl coming out, you know?
I know. It's really funny when I hear my mom talk, though, because she makes all those mistakes, and I'm like, God damn, I had no chance from the start.
God damn!
Anyway, Aaron, how you doing? What's your goddamn, man?
I'm doing pretty good. My goddamn is that my little baby girl's kindergarten class is hatching eggs. And they're in there. They got like fucking,
they're hatching.
They got like fucking 9 chicks or 9 fucking eggs or whatever. And we were like, we're going to take some because we have chickens. That'll be fun. That'll be a nice little adventure. And in my mind, I was like, we have so much time to prepare for this, right? And
how long does it take for a chick to hatch?
I should know this. We just filled out a whole form.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. How long have they had the chickens?
I don't know. Since spring break.
Oh, that's really fast, though, because that's like, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's like that. It's like not quite 30 days or something.
What?
It's like less than that? I don't know. So
that's
then
wild.
They got the eggs, and I was like, we have so much time. Like, that's tomorrow's problem. That's future Aaron's problem.
For sure.
And then we're going through a bathroom renovation and stuff, not because of any...
Oh, you mean the hatchery renovation?
The hatchery renovation. Our guest bathroom has been shit. It's gone through a lot, and you've been there. There's tiles that are not glued down or stuck down. They're just floating. It's like, don't kick them.
That's how it was in high school, though.
It's how it's been.
Like the kitchen, remember? We would just, after every party, put the tiles back where they belong, like a puzzle.
Yeah. My dad finally fixed the kitchen at some point in our high school. Yeah. But
probably after those parties. He's like, Jesus, these are really busting loose.
This can't happen. Not with Stacey's bare fucking feet flying around. Sweaty bottoms, just picking them up.
Kicking them off every step.
God, that was the worst. You had to repuzzle it.
Listen, growing up, I always had a loose tile or two, too. Yeah. No judgment. I thought it was normal.
Yeah. Well, in my bathroom, people come in like, what happened? I'm like, not one particular thing.
We've just lived here.
Yeah. So we're, finally getting this renovated and stuff. Unfortunately, that is also where we had originally kept our little baby chicks, was in this little tiny guest bathroom because it's tiny and the kids didn't really need it, right? Like, they're little. They don't take their own fucking showers and stuff yet.
Right.
They can do that in our bathroom. It's fine.
Yeah.
But now that place is gutted, and I don't know where we're going to put these little tiny baby chicks. Maybe in Brandon's office. I don't know. But
I feel like they could live in a construction zone. Just put a drop cloth over them before you sand the drywall.
Plumber over there. He's like, beep, beep.
Watch out for the chickens.
But little baby girl's teacher just sent out a message last night, and she was like, one of them hatched. So now, I don't know when we're getting them. Is it 3 days? Is it a fucking week? I don't know, but I got to get my shit together. I got to get it all together. And
what if today, when you go to pick her up, she's like, here's the chicken. You asked for it.
Baby girl's been asking. I'm going to ask her if we can take it home. I'm like, don't.
Well, let's wait. Let's until she gives it to us. Yeah. It's rude to ask.
Yeah, let's get them all out so you can pick one,
know?
Or 2. I don't know how many we're getting. That's another thing. I think it's 1.
You're going to
Maybe
get them all.
2.
You're ending up with all of them.
There's like 9 in there, man. We can't take 9. She said she would take 2, the teacher.
Oh, well, then that's 7.
Yeah, it's not even that many.
Quick 7. So you only have 6 already.
And we have too many eggs. So, it's going to be fun. But they're like fancier chickens. Not fancy.
I was going to ask what kind of chickens they are. Yeah. Not that I will know, but are they the same breed as you already have?
She said she likes to go with the cuter ones with like the silkies, like the big old fucking hair on their head and stuff. I was like, oh, we don't have anything like that.
Oh my God, how cute.
So they might be like smaller eggs or less eggs or stuff. So like that's okay then, right?
You have plenty of eggs.
We got so many eggs. I just want a cute little fucking chicken. And baby girl and her class gets to name them, and I'm so fucking excited.
So do you have to make another coop, or like when they come of age, are they allowed to be with your other chickens?
I'm gonna Google it a few more times before we actually get to that stage, because they have like weeks before they're actually ready to go in.
Right. Like, maybe just bring them out every day and be like, hey,
Look at this.
do the fence.
I've thought about maybe just putting them in their little, like, egg box. Like, oh, look, this one hatched, you know?
Oh, surprise.
And then see if they, like, take it under their wing, you know?
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't think they'll
probably just
might
eat it.
But,
I
like,
don't know.
I also don't want to come out to, like, a massacre because that would be fucking awful.
Been there. My dog ate my chicken.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But life's about to get even more fucking interesting, and it's right in the midst of this chaos in my shit. So,
Yay! That's how fucking life works, man.
yeah. Yeah. Baby girl was like, I want a white one. And I was like, you don't really get to choose
Right.
that,
Wow.
though.
Fucking Nazi.
Yeah,
Chill
I
out, man. Baby Hitler. He must have blue eyes. Shit.
Not the one with red eyes. I didn't know she was so, what's the word?
Hillary.
Hillary. Racist against chickens.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Yeah. You know?
Speaking of training goons and Hitler, baby Hitler, you want to hear
okay.
my goddamn?
I do.
You already know it because you
Oh.
witnessed it. Just to carry on the saga of my child not going to school. Today was a morning where he didn't want to go all of a sudden. Well, and it's not, I'm being very nice by saying he didn't want to go. It was a firestorm. Who we tried. But here we are again.
You had the speech from Braveheart beforehand.
This shit is not for the wicked, okay, guys? Like, honestly, what are we doing? And he keeps teasing me because he'll do really good for a while.
Yeah.
And today is because he had a sub yesterday, and she's a little lady, and everybody says she's mean. All the little kids are like, she's the fucking worst. And I'm
Yeah.
like, we should probably put in a complaint or something.
Right.
But then my little sweet baby boy is so, like, sensitive that he has one day with her, and then he doesn't want to go back. Like, he's a routine kid, right?
But
Which
like,
I get it.
his teachers and stuff know this about him, so then couldn't they request a different sub? Be like, hey, Mrs. fucking Orange
See,
Bottom or whatever your name is.
I don't really know how that works. And also, I don't know if his teacher knows that he doesn't like this sub. She just knows, like, he has hard mornings. Yeah. And when he's in class, he's, like, the best fucking student. But for some reason, he just doesn't want to go. Because even on the mornings he doesn't want to go, when I take him to the office, he's not disruptive. He's quiet. He just sits there and covers his head. And I'm the disruptive one, like, whispering death threats. Like, you get your fucking ass in here. I'll disturb you. Or it's like, I'll buy you 700 Lego sets. And I'm just so tired of it all.
Yeah.
And I just want the motherfucker to do his part and go to school.
Yep.
Sorry, motherfucker. I love you.
Listen, it's all said out of love. But, like, if you don't get him to go to school, you're going to be arrested or something at some point, you know? Like, there's a point where he needs to give in.
Absolutely. And then I get
Break his
mad.
spirit.
When these moments happen, I get mad at myself for everything that I do as a mom. That, like, and listen, I know I'm a great mom and everything, but, like, we all have our self-doubts. But I'm, like, driving him home thinking, like, this motherfucker just got a Lego set. I'm going to smash it. And then I'm thinking, like, last night we had spaghetti, but he didn't want spaghetti because he doesn't like spaghetti. So I made him fucking chicken. I made him 2 goddamn meals. Like, just cycling all the, like, I know how we got here and I'm so mad at myself. But also, like, I love him and I want to give him these awesome opportunities and, you know, whatever. And then they just take. And then I lose my goddamn mind.
When they show their sweet little self again, you're like, oh, I will give you the world. Yes, I guess I'll make you another dinner, you know, as long as you're eating, blah, blah, blah.
Well, and I
like,
grew up having to eat whatever the fuck they made. And my dad
Right.
would make, like, sausage and noodles. And I'm like, I'm going to throw up in a bucket. But you know what? The kid needs to feel like he needs to throw up in a bucket or something because he is far too fucking comfortable.
Literally, my kids, I tell them that shit too. I'm like, I had to eat bamboo shoots. Do you
Yeah.
know what those are? They're
I
not good.
love
Like,
bamboo shoots, but wouldn't have as a kid.
as an adult, sure. Like, you can throw them in there and I'll be like, nostalgic. Because I had to choke that shit down as a kid. As a
bet.
kid, I was like, why does it taste like that? It's awful.
Yeah.
I don't want this.
It tastes a little
bamboo.
like bleach or something in the middle, huh?
Not
It's
supposed
like
to
something
fucking eat
weird.
it. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to fucking eat it. And that's the shit my dad would cook. Was just like, I don't know, stir fry and blah, blah, blah.
Heart
And,
of palm, and you're like,
all of this
okay.
stuff. Why are there so many nuts in it, you know? Like, I didn't like any of that shit as a kid. And yet,
Ate it.
I still got the calories from it somehow.
Yeah.
It went down my fucking gullet.
Survived.
Yeah, but my
Girl.
kids, they're like, macaroni, chicken nuggets, or pizza.
Every
or
fucking
nothing.
night. Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. So, that's my goddamn. Is that, like, I might burn the world down.
It's okay. You know? So the world has had a good run, in my
I actually think
opinion.
it could use a good cleanse.
I think so, too.
Speaking of the world and cleansing, do you want to hear my case this week?
I sure do. The world in cleansing. Uh-oh. Are we doing Nazi Germany? What is this?
Okay, this week on episode 381, I'm going to share with you all a story that some of you may be familiar with.
Okay.
but not as familiar as what I'm going to share with you.
All right.
Or perhaps maybe more because you're smarter than me and you've done more research. But
Oh,
I'm going to tell you about the Franklin scandal.
the Franklin scandal. Benjamin?
No, but you would think.
I would.
Okay, listen.
The Franklin
Before I get
scandal.
into this, because I'm all excited
Okay.
to share this with you,
Yes.
is I know I have mentioned this to you at least 20 other times in passing. And every time you're like, I don't think I heard that one. And I'm like, it's the whole reason I got sucked into like, it's the whole reason I got sucked into shit. It was back in the day when you started listening to Sword and Scale and you're like, there's this really cool podcast. Back before we all knew he was an asshole, okay? This was like very beginning. You had told me to listen to Sword and Scale. And I was like, what? And I listened to the first one. I was like, that made me want to throw up. I'm going to listen to all of them, right? And then I started binging them on the
I
way
need to
home.
unregulate myself.
Yeah, I love this shit. And then I would listen to it on the way to work and on the way home. Well, episode 5 of Sword and Scale is on the Franklin scandal. And I remember listening to it and I was like, what the actual fuck? Like, why do not more people care? What is that all about?
Okay.
And every time I ever bring it up, everybody's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so I must have heard about it.
You've
because
heard about it.
I've listened to at least all of the beginning of Sword and Scales.
And there's so many crimes related to this Franklin scandal that there have been other ones that have popped up that I'm like, oh, it's like that one episode of Sword and Scale, blah, blah, blah. And you have looked at me and been like, I don't think I remember that one. And I'm like, God damn it. It didn't impact her like it impacted me.
Apparently.
But also very early on Sword and Scale days. So who's got memory for that?
I mean, yeah, it could have been in one ear, out the other.
Lasted impact in my brain because it deals with conspiracies.
Right, that might have been where I turned off. Like,
You're like,
so
it's
many
probably
names.
not true.
I don't know any of those people.
And I'm like, why are we not investigating? All right, so I'm going to tell you about the Franklin scandal. And if you guys have heard it before, stick around because, like, maybe I'm telling you something new. Or maybe not. Or maybe I'm missing a bunch and
You'll
can come
just
yell at me.
get our fucking hot take on it.
Mm-hmm, but
which
this is
historically is great.
right? Okay, guys. So the Franklin scandal.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of names. Stick with me.
I will.
So Lawrence Larry King Jr.
Larry King?
Larry King Jr. The junior, not the Larry King.
Okay.
This is a black guy, Larry King. Bigger black dude.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about him, but not the Larry King that you see on like fucking CNN or whatever.
The Crypt Keeper.
Yeah. Is he
Okay.
alive still? Or
I
is he
don't know.
dead? Okay, so Larry King. I don't know much about the before times, but we do know that he was born in 1944 and he's from Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay. Great zoo, I've heard.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What about the San Diego Zoo? Comparable?
According to Brandon, Omaha's better.
Okay, so in 1970, Larry King Jr., he became the manager and treasurer of this newly founded Franklin Community Federal Credit Union. So essentially a bank, right? A credit union.
FCCU.
Yeah, exactly. FCFCU
Oh.
is how this one works. So this credit union, it was formed in a predominantly black neighborhood, and it supported low-income housing communities, and it was touted as a community-based credit union.
Okay.
So very like grassroots, whatever.
For the people.
For the people, by the people.
Love that.
Here's your money. In 1972, at the age of 28, Larry earned his degree in business from the University of Nebraska, Omaha. And all through the 70s and 80s, Larry was very involved with the community, often volunteering for church organizations and serving on boards to local charities like the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, and Salvation Army.
Good for him.
So very involved in the community. Larry had a reputation for being ambitious and very charismatic, and he loved to sing and perform. My guy.
Theater kid.
He also owned a few bars and restaurants in the area, and so
Okay, he sounds like a great time.
he sounds like a great time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you just wait.
Okay.
So he was very active in the community, and he was very well known.
Okay.
In the early 80s, Larry became involved in the Republican politics. In the Republican politics.
Okay.
And helped revitalize the Nebraska Black Republican Council, or the NBRC.
Okay.
The NBRC was focused on amplifying Black voices in politics at that time. The group organized local events, including holiday parties, youth programs, and community outreach events. And while it is not officially confirmed, it is very likely that the credit union that Larry King was the manager / treasurer of and like helped found or whatever, that likely funded many of the NBRC events.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
These events were pretty big and lavish, and Larry got a reputation around town for living a larger-than-life kind of life. Like,
He made it.
he made it. He had arrived.
Mm-hmm. And he was acting like it.
Mm-hmm. He had fancy cars, private jets. He flew
Private jets?
private motherfucking jets.
Okay, so you guys know, even if I make it, I
You
won't
ain't getting
have
a private jet? No.
Like,
What are we fucking doing?
what are we fucking doing?
Even if I make it, I'm still riding goddamn. Maybe I'll get business.
Maybe I'll get business class.
To the extra leg room.
First class if they can upgrade me.
Yeah.
But
Only if there is a last second upgrade so I get it for cheaper.
yeah, I'm still so goddamn cheap though.
Oh, and the whole time I'd be like, this fucking plane's crashing. Okay.
Right? In this little bitty plane? Come on.
Yeah. So he had private jets. He,
Plural jets?
I wrote it. I probably didn't specify. I was just like, bitches got shit. Okay.
Bitches got jets.
Yeah. He was throwing big parties. He clearly had tons of money. And all...
Well, it's also Nebraska money. Like, think of the mansion you could buy in Nebraska. You know?
I don't even know. I mean, what if it's not that impressive because they have this awesome zoo?
I guess that's
And
true.
it-
Never looked in
Right.
Omaha.
Rises the house prices.
I
Okay.
feel like you could get a sick, 10-bedroom for $250,000, you know?
You know, you're the Zillow queen, so you're probably right. Now, all of this money was allegedly coming from running this community-based credit union
Uh-oh.
in, the
Now,
poor neighborhood,
Is
right?
that, his full-time job?
Yeah.
Like, does he go
and
in
he has this political career, right?
9 to 5 every day and manage the credit union? Like, he works,
Well-
he beats feet there? Or is it yeah, I manage that?
He's
and
the
they,
manager and the treasurer.
so then they just, call him when there's an issue? Like, he doesn't actually, he's not boots on the ground in the credit union.
I can't imagine this man ever actually lifted a finger in his life. I don't know. That's
Okay.
my judgment.
Okay.
Because I'm like, how the fuck do you start running a credit union? How do you found one? And
Yeah.
you just went to school for business. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but
Yeah.
I didn't trace it back that far to figure out how he got there. I just know he was there.
Okay.
And he was making a grip of cash.
Yeah, and he's the treasurer, so he knows where it's all going.
Right. And now he's the head of this Republican Party, right?
Okay, yeah.
So he has influence, political influence.
And
And
there's a-
everybody in the town knows him.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can kind of see where this is headed.
I could see how one might be tempted.
Rich men with power. Mm-hmm. So his political career continued to grow, and he would often be invited as a special guest to major events. Like, for example, he was booked to do singing gigs at GOP events. And he even sang the national anthem at the 1984 Republican National Convention.
I didn't know they sang the national anthem at those.
Girl, I think they sing the national anthem everywhere, all the time, anytime.
I'm so confused every time they say it. What are we doing?
Dude, even at the Little League, they started doing the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah,
Why are we pledging before the game?
I don't know, but I don't stand up because I'm a disrespectful asshole, and
Everything in my body makes me stand up because of my dad.
yeah, I
But
know.
I don't want to because of the times we're living in.
I know, and my dad's not there, so listen.
Yeah. Girl, my dad's watching from heaven all the time. He'll whip my ass. Take your hat off, and I don't even have one.
Your dad's everywhere. Mine's still here,
You still run from
and
him.
he's over there. So I don't know though. I'd probably stay sitting. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll never know when the day comes.
Brandon gets all mad because he's like, I'm the coach. I have to fucking lead it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
don't. He's
I
like, what do
know.
I do? I was like, kneel. That's what that one guy did.
Kaepernick or whatever
Yeah.
his name was. Okay.
Anyway.
So Larry was so successful, he went on to serve on the advisory committee for Ronald Reagan's second inauguration in January of 1985. They were like, God damn, that man can sing the national anthem.
Somebody get those honey pipes in here.
The voice of a goddamn angel. Oh, man. And so in
We need him to butter up Reagan every once in a while. Just sing to him in his fucking back office.
Party, volare. Boats and hoes. Okay.
All I could think was a Catalina goddamn wine mixer.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying here is that Larry King Jr. is super politically connected, even to the president.
Yeah.
And he was used in this party to help drum up funds. That's all his position was, as this special whatever advisory committee, whatever, was just help us raise some funds and also what's up?
Yeah.
You're my friend now.
Yeah, come hang out, have dinner, pay us $2,000 for that dinner.
Exactly. Then in 1988, all of Larry's success came to a screeching halt when federal regulators flagged Franklin Community Federal Credit Union for fraudulent financial practices.
Uh-oh.
That is a tongue twister.
That sounds like a tongue twister.
Which, surprise, surprise, right?
Yeah. Uh-oh, all that fraud.
All that fraud. How'd you get all that money, my friend?
Yeah.
I have some questions. So many complaints started to roll in about Larry, claiming that he was using the credit union's deposits as a way to fund his lavish lifestyle of private jets and limousines. The obvious argument being that for the credit union being a modest homegrown community first kind of credit union, his salary wouldn't have been big enough to fund the type of lifestyle that he was living.
Okay.
At the time, Larry
was like, you shouldn't be able to afford jet, let alone jets.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Now, at the time, Larry was living in a $5,000 a month home in D.C. on Embassy Row, which I guess is some very sought after neighborhood. I Googled it, and they looked like, probably fancy homes for D.C. or San Diego or whatever. Very high priced.
Okay, yeah.
He drove a new Mercedes-Benz and wore name brand fancy clothes and jewelry and spent tons of money on entertainment. Like, clearly the math wasn't mathing. They're like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Regulators and auditors started to detect missing funds and suspicious activity at the credit union. So the National Credit Union Administration, or the NCUA, who is responsible for regulating credit unions, stepped in to investigate. So the regulatory offices were like, hey, something's fishy here. And they were like, let us check it all out.
Flag it. Now you're under investigation.
Right. On November 4th, 1988, the NCUA raided the credit union and shut it down after discovering that there was $34 to $40 million worth of funds that were unaccounted for, which is one of the largest credit union failures in history. They were like, there's $40 million missing, so if you deposited your money here, you're never getting it back.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have it.
The state of Nebraska doesn't have $40 million.
Yeah, right?
Collectively.
So you're fucked is basically what happened.
Yeah.
Which is so fucking crazy.
Right. Like that's
the
just,
balls.
That's just gone now.
Yeah.
My bad.
Sorry about it. Gotta shut it down.
Wow.
So they froze all of Larry's assets and they looked into the paper trail of everything. Which, by the way, I was like, $40 million isn't enough for jets. But I remember on previous episodes, because it's always bankers that we're doing all this shit on, evidently. I remember on previous episodes, it was like they would like approve loans, so they would loan themselves the money and just not pay it back. So I'm guessing that's how he fucking paid for all this shit. And he probably moved it around a bunch so he didn't have to pay taxes and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't look that deep into it. So Larry denied taking any money from the credit union and says that he financed his lifestyle through a legitimate income, but he refused to do any media interviews or speak any further than that. He was just like, it wasn't me.
No, it's totally legit.
And then he just like,
I can't tell you that.
Goes into the bushes like Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Due to all of the allegations, the Nebraska state legislature formed the task force, informally called the Franklin Committee, to look into Larry King and his credit union fraud. Okay. So they had to form a committee, like, we got to get a handle on this.
Yeah, they're like, this one actually needs more eyes.
Right. So the Franklin Committee was created to check into if there were any regulatory failures that allowed Larry to continue this fraud for so long. So, like, we already know he did it.
Yeah.
How did he get away with it for so long? Because that's a problem.
Yeah. We don't want other places doing this.
Yeah, and they wanted to make sure that if there was any of his political connections or anything, influence the oversight of these regulations. So the committee was chaired by a man named Laurent Schmidt.
Did you say
Schmidt?
Laurent?
Laurent. Maybe it was Lauren.
Lauren.
But it's a guy, so I feel like it's Laurent.
Laurent. Could be Lauren. Brittany.
Could be. The Schmidt guy. He was a longtime politician at this point who was well liked in his community. In 1989, he starts looking into the fraud, and during the investigation, allegations of sex trafficking of children popped up that were linked to the credit union.
What?
He's like, I'm just trying to look for fraud. And everybody's like, yeah, they're fucking trafficking children. And he's like, hold on, I was just looking at the fraud.
Oh, actually, I don't want to see that shit.
Like, what are you talking about?
That
sex
depresses
trafficking?
me.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So the sex trafficking claims alleged that money and connections tied to the failed credit union were used to fund a child prostitution ring involving foster children and prominent figures of society, like prominent political figures of society. Okay?
I hate that.
You're going to hate it worse. So, because of these claims, the committee hired a private investigator by the name of Gary Caradori.
Okay.
Because they're like, hey, we're investigating all this fraud on the money end, and we need somebody to go check out if these claims are true.
We're super busy, but like there's kids that might be at risk.
We're going to need a private investigator.
Yeah.
So here comes Gary.
Okay.
So now we have the Franklin Committee, right, looking at the finance fraud. And then we have Gary checking out the child sex trafficking claims.
Okay.
As investigator Gary is digging into the trafficking claims, the name Paul Bonacci keeps popping up.
Okay. I want to make like Italian hand gestures. Bonacci.
I don't even know if in all of the interviews with Paul, they pronounce it Bonacci or something, and I'm like, that can't be right. That lady just didn't know how to say it.
Is it 2 C's?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's G, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so Paul, his name keeps coming up in relation to Larry King, so they pull up Paul's name in their little system, and they discover that Paul is in his early 20s, and this is in like the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. Paul's in his early 20s, and he's currently incarcerated at a detention center for sexual assault on a child.
Ooh, hate that. Ooh.
Hate it.
And how did we get his name? Where did his name come from?
It just started popping up, like they were investigating all the fraud claims, and then when they were like, well, who do you know? And his name kept popping up, and they were like, that's weird, and talking about sex trafficking. So
Okay, and then they look him up, and he's got some
He's in detention already for, sex with a minor kind of thing. Yeah. So on May 14th, 1990, Paul was interviewed on videotape at the Douglas County Correctional Center in Omaha, Nebraska by Franklin Committee Special Investigator Gary. When interviewed, Paul confirmed that in November of 1989, he had been arrested and brought to the detention center for sexual assault on a child. Now, we're in May of 1990, so that would have been just a couple months prior. So he's only been in for a few months. Everything from here forth, pretty much, henceforth, is Paul's interview. Okay? So it jumps around a lot, and I tried really hard to keep it in some sort of structure. So if I bounce a bit, bear with me, but I think I got it pretty well clumped together.
Okay.
So Paul claims that a 13-year-old boy named Mike Dunham was over at his grandma's house, and they were hanging out telling...
Paul's grandma's house?
Paul's grandma's house.
Okay.
I think he's telling how he got these assault charges.
Yeah.
Like he's telling, oh, here's what happened.
Yeah,
There's a
this
13-year-old...
kid happened to be at my grandma's house.
Right, and he's like
Slipped
early
and
20s.
Fell on my...
Yeah, exactly. They're hanging out, and they're telling ghost stories.
Oh.
I guess the story started to scare Mike. Like, these ghost stories were freaking him out.
Yeah.
And he was trying to leave and go home, but Paul wouldn't let him leave. And he kept scaring him with ghost stories.
Okay, sounds a little aggressive.
Mike got really upset, obviously. And then he told Paul that he would, quote, be sorry for making him mad. Okay, so I guess...
Sounds like your kid.
Yeah, I know, right? I guess...
The rage of 1,000 suns come out of this kid.
You'll be sorry. And I'm like, I'm fucking sorry now, man. I don't know, just stop. So I guess what Paul is trying to do here is like
Blame the kid.
Insinuate that Mike is claiming that Paul raped him, but really this is just like
He just irritated the shit out of him, and
he's
Mike
lying
got mad. Yeah.
and saying that I raped him, but I didn't do all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now
we
that's
were just under the covers telling ghost stories.
Yeah, I didn't touch his dick or anything.
Yeah.
Now they didn't. It wasn't specified or anything. That's my take on it. And sometimes I read things wrong, but I'm guessing
that's what it
he's-
sounded like.
Yeah. Okay.
Or that's what I would assume. Like you're immediately placing some kind of a aggressive or blame on this kid.
Yeah.
This child.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you're an adult.
And so that's why he's in this detention center, right? It's like, I had nothing to do with it. This guy's just mad at me and he's framing me.
Okay.
So in the interview, Paul goes on to explain that he was a part of this child sex traffic ring led by influential political leaders like Larry King. So he confirms it. He went on to explain that he himself had been first sexually abused at the age of 6 by a 13-year-old named Jeremy, and that he had told his mom about the abuse, but she did nothing about it.
Okay, that sucks.
In the interview, Paul goes on to explain that his first homosexual encounter started in 1976 when he was sexually abused by a man named Walter Carlson, who he described as being in his 30s or 40s at the time. And I know no further information of what Walter did to him, but, fun fact, Walter Carlson was charged in 1986 with sexual assault of a child for allegedly having sexual contact with minors who were 14 years of age or younger.
Okay.
So Paul in the interview is like, the first guy who raped me was this guy Walter Carlson. And he's going to tell you a little bit more about him, but then I went and researched, and this guy got in trouble for sexual assault. Okay,
So pretty plausible.
So I kind of believe him. I couldn't find details on what the allegations were against this Walter guy, other than like 14 years or younger, right? I'm guessing it's because they were all minors. So it's like, well, we can't just like publish that everywhere.
Yeah.
Walter filed a plea in abatement and a motion to dismiss the charges against him, arguing that both alleged victims were actually over the age of 14 at the time of the incidents, with one being 14 years and 10 months old and the other being 14 years and 3 months old. So he was like, we need to dismiss this because they weren't under 14.
They are 14.
The fucking audacity.
All right, man.
The rage of 1,000 suns. Not even like I didn't do that.
Yeah, just like they're not as young as you're trying to imply. They're months older than that. Months. That's fucking crazy.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So
the audacity.
The fucking audacity. Just wait. I'm going to get so mad. I'm already mad today.
Yeah.
I'm going to get so mad. I don't know
why
why I did this. Yeah. So the district court ruled in Walter's favor.
They're like, you're right. You were right. Semantics.
Agreeing with his interpretation of the statute and dismissed the charges.
Okay, well, couldn't you just get under 16? Like, aren't there different levels? Like, lewd and lascivious acts under 14, lewd and lascivious acts under 16?
Love it. I love the way your brain
thinks. Move it up to the fucking
thinks.
next one.
Love it.
Whatever it is. Okay, 14 and a half, motherfucker.
What the fuck? So there is some redemption here. A Douglas County attorney appealed the dismissal of the Nebraska Supreme Court, or to the Nebraska Supreme Court.
Okay.
They were like, you can't dismiss this. Like, we're going to go take this to Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And they did. And the Nebraska Supreme Court ruled that the phrase 14 years of age or younger includes individuals who have reached their 14th birthday but have not yet reached their 15th birthday.
Yeah, it says or younger. Or younger. They are 14
or younger. You're still 14, but he's trying to argue they're 14 and a half.
So if you just read the fucking rules.
They're not fucking 15, bitch.
Yeah.
And also, if they're still 15, it's still rape. It's still gross.
It's
Stop.
still rape. It's still a child.
What are we doing?
Like, why are you really arguing semantics
Why are we doing this? And it just makes me realize, like, power and money, and you can get through anything.
Literally.
So Paul says that Walter is now in the 1990 interview, like in this age. He is in his 50s and lives off of 50th and Miami Street in Omaha, Nebraska, and described his house as a 2-story white cream-colored house. So he has all the fucking details. Like, I know this man's house. He raped me a lot. Now, and it all lines up. They're like, yep, that's his house.
Okay.
Now, the interview doesn't map this out in a linear way, and I kind of already touched on this, but I'll try not to jump around too much. But for context here, it sounds like Walter's house was the one that was often the place hosting parties that would allow abuse to happen.
Okay.
So this is where even more sexual assault starts in Paul's life. He doesn't explain how he and Walter became in contact for these parties, but he describes Walter as one of his abusers, and it seems like a lot of Paul's future abusers are introduced to him through Walter at these parties. So the first man that Paul mentions meeting through Walter is someone by the name of Harry Anderson, who Paul claims that he met at Walter's house when he was 9, and Harry told Paul that he looked like his son used to look, and asked Paul if he would like to, quote, take a ride. And he brought Paul into a bedroom, and forced Paul to perform oral sex on him.
That's not taking a ride.
That's not taking a ride. That's gross. Don't say that. Leave
That's
me
not
alone.
taking a ride.
Don't talk to me. Ew.
That's
Yuck.
gross.
Yeah. Another occasion.
Also, you look like my son.
Gross. Fucking foul.
That's
all of these
awful.
people are gross.
Someone
Now,
needs to go talk to his son.
remember, these are the claims of Paul, who is in there for alleged child sex crimes.
Yeah.
And now he's painting out a story of he himself being part of these child sex crimes.
You can be a victim and then also a predator.
Perpetrate, yeah.
Or perpetrator.
Yeah. Now, on another occasion, Harry and another unidentified person at one of these parties tied Paul up and burned him with cigarettes.
Hate that. Nope.
Hate it. Paul said these meetings with Harry went on until 1984, and he met up with him at least 40 separate times for these encounters.
God damn. Where were his parents? Why was a 9-year-old going to a grown-ass man's house?
Well, remember how Paul was like,
get there?
I told my mom and she did nothing about it? I kind of think that's a theme in a lot of this stuff, is like the parents are slightly, in some cases, the parents are kind of aware of what's happening, but they're getting advantages also, like money or other things, like the political connection or the power or the networking, right?
Do you think it's that, or do you think it's that they don't have the time or bandwidth to deal with it and the kid is just like running free and those are the kids that they prey on kind of thing?
I think it's both.
Could be either. Yeah.
So, well, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be a whole slew of things.
Yeah.
So, he says he did this at least 40 times with Harry, right? Mm-hmm. Harry would pick Paul up from school and would usually give Paul money after the encounters, like $10. He would get $10 for being fucking burned to shit with cigarettes.
In what day and age? 80s?
80, yeah. Early 80s.
Also, can I just say I'm real glad we stopped naming our kids Harry?
It's funny because in the interview he keeps being called Anderson, but then he's like he liked to be called Harry, and I'm like, yeah, that's his first fucking name. Like,
weird.
Anyway, so if he wasn't being paid money, then Harry would take him to like this local amusement park or whatever, and I guess that's where all the kids were fucking hanging out all the time. So
there you go, run to the arcade.
So to Paul, who's not being paid attention to by his parents or anything, he's like, hey, I don't like this thing, but at least I get money and I get to do fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Harry would take Paul to now that it's okay, but I'm just saying from his perspective, that's what's going on here. Harry would take Paul to a motel called Red Lion Inn or to Walter's house for the sexual assault.
That's fucking gross. If you're a grown-ass person walking into a motel with a child that is not your own.
In the like mid-40s when this was happening is how old he was. He was in his mid-40s. If he's 50s now. Yeah. Maybe he's in like his early 40s when this was happening.
Like anyway. The fucking person checking him in. What are you here for? Business or pleasure?
Girl. It kind of sounds like a lot of people were in on it.
Like, it's just a normal thing in this town. Yeah. This is the motel you go to. This is the house you go to.
Kind of sounds like it.
Gross.
So, before I get too far, because I should have started the whole podcast with this, and it's probably very obvious right now, but red flag, trigger warning.
All the trigger warnings.
Insane child abuse, okay?
Yeah.
Sexual assault, okay? And I try not to go into too much of it, but fuck, I haven't even been abused, and I'm triggered by this shit. So Paul claimed that sometimes other people would be present for the assault, often kids from an orphanage or a place called Boys Town.
They just get to go out on day trips to abuses?
Sounds like it. And this place, Boys Town, is basically a group home for troubled or orphaned youth.
Okay.
So Paul said that a typical session would include anal sex, oral sex, and use of toys with other young boys often watching and masturbating or taking pictures or being involved as well. And that this was a regular occurrence. To go to the hotel, some boys from Boys Town would be there and this shit would go down and they'd be recording it or they'd be participating in it.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. That is awful.
Harry would refer to Paul as his pet and began asking him to recruit other boys to do these acts with.
Okay, so he's his own little Epstein. He's his own little Maxwell.
Girl, he's before Epstein.
Yeah.
He's actually at the same time as Epstein, really, because this started in like the 76s. And it went on through the 90s.
Oh my God.
So Harry offered Paul $500 per boy that he brought him. So Paul ran out and recruited two boys named Ricky and Brooks who lived on the same street as Paul.
Oh my God.
He brought all these boys back to Red Lion Inn and they were forced to engage in sexual acts and record it. If any of the children didn't want to participate, Harry would like rip them by the hair and threaten them or tie them up and force them against their will. So like these boys are like, yeah, I'll come. I want to make $10. And then they get in there and they're like, I don't want to do that. And then they were forced to.
Oh my God.
Harry would use handcuffs, rope, or torn bed sheets every time with Paul to tie him up. So he was never not tied up. He would use a knife to cut at him and to torture him, often threatening to cut off his member.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In the interview, Paul showed several scars that looked to prove that he had been sliced at in the past several times. Like, there's scars. There's evidence. He's like, here, look, this is one where he cut too deep. He said that while with Harry, other adults would abuse him regularly, and he named several accusers. So as I go through these people, the linear process of it is like who his main keeper is, but even when he's with Harry is like his keeper, his pet, right? Oh, you're my pet.
Yeah.
But Harry is letting other adults abuse him at these parties
Harry
too.
is the ditty, yeah.
Right, exactly. So Paul said in 1982 he had gone to the police to report all of these abuses, and the police showed up at his school, and I think they ended up putting him in like the psych ward or the hospital or something.
Because there's got to be something wrong with him.
Yeah, and then they were supposed to like take him to some youth home or some shit after, but they didn't, so he was just back out into his abuser's arms.
Oh no.
So nothing happened other than like
now they know that you told.
You've been ratting us out.
Yeah. Not gonna like that.
Paul claimed that in 1982, he had tried to leave Harry because he was now being kept by another man named Alan Bear, which I will get into. When he told Harry, like, hey, man, I can't be doing this all the time. I'm sticking with Alan now. I don't know how this went down.
He doesn't cut me as much.
Yeah, I think Alan kind of paid a lot more, according to the numbers. But I don't know if that's why or anything. That's my speculation.
Yeah.
Or if Alan was just like, you're mine now. Like, I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
But he told Harry, like, hey, I'm with Alan now.
Go fight to the death over it, Harry.
Harry didn't like that, and so he got 2 boys to hold Paul down while Harry again, like, tortured him with the knife and, like, threatened to cut off his dick and shit.
Oh my God. Imagine having the fucking time to do this.
Well, girl, they're not doing anything else. Like you were saying, is he really running a credit union? Nah, man, he's just stealing.
Yeah, I guess.
He got all the fucking time in the world. On Tuesday, in my basement with a knife. Like, what are we doing? Now, Harry threatened Paul and his family and friends' life if he ever spoke out against him. Like, okay, you're going to go with Alan now, but don't you ever fucking say some shit because you will die. So I'm just trying to highlight here because a lot of people are like, why don't people go to the authorities? It's like, he tried. He tried multiple times. He went to his fucking mom first and was abandoned by her. Like, this is a fucked up system right here. And it's true. It does happen for people.
Yeah.
Now, between 1984 and 1986, Paul received threatening calls and letters from Harry, which were threatening to kill Paul if he ever spoke out against him.
And letters? I'd keep all that shit in a shoebox. These are my memories.
Right?
This is my ex-boyfriend box.
Yeah. This one's Harry.
Yeah, this is my ex-fucking predator box or whatever.
Oh, my God.
Handler? I don't know.
It makes me so mad. So, during this time frame, the same time frame that he's getting all the threats from Harry, other men were actively, regularly assaulting Paul, like I said. And so now we're going to introduce you to a third man named Peter Citron.
Okay.
Peter,
Paul, and fucking Walter,
Alan.
Harry.
I told you about Alan and how he was going to leave. And I don't know if, like, Peter was abusing at the same time that Alan was his keeper, or if Peter is his keeper first. It kind of gets all jumbled, right?
Okay.
So, like I said, they're all being abused at the same time, and I'm just trying to tell you about each little abuser here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just jump into Peter. So sorry that little timeline's a little blurry.
Okay. So Peter about?
Peter, he was a newspaper columnist and a television entertainment critic. So fairly public figure.
Okay.
Peter and Paul had met in 1979 when Paul was 12 and Peter was 40. Paul had been at the local amusement park with his friend John Camp, who was 10, and they met Peter there. I'm guessing he was at the fucking amusement park because Harry sent him there.
Right. I was going to say, I'll bet this was like a normal hunting grounds type
sure.
of thing.
Absolutely.
Because, like, what grown-ass 40-year-old man is going to the amusement
park by himself?
I imagine, like, Belmont Park, you know? Like a little arcade and some rides, like a little fucking fair area.
You know, and the name was mentioned, and I never looked it up. I was just like, oh, local amusement park.
Yeah.
It's like Busch Gardens. So well-known.
It's the Omaha Zoo.
Yeah, right? So Peter, not Paul, not our youngster Paul, the 40-year-old Peter, he asked if they wanted to see a movie, these boys.
Hey, kids.
John and Paul, if they wanted to see a movie. Yeah.
Hey, kid, do you want to see a movie?
You want to see a movie?
And Paul, like me, was like, fuck yeah, I love movies.
What movie?
And he agreed. So they went back to Peter's house and stayed the night, but nothing funny happened. They just watched the movie.
They stayed the night?
A 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 40-year-old just had a slumber party.
Did they call their parents? Like, hey, I'm going to have dinner at
I
fucking
don't think these fucking parents are here.
stranger's house, and then I'm going to stay the night.
They didn't. I don't.
It's a wild times.
Wild. Then, one day, Paul meets up with John Camp and Peter, who are playing soccer with a bunch of people. Like, I don't know if this is just some fucking random field lot or if it's at the school or if it's like, yeah, Friday night soccer. I don't know what's going on.
There's a lot of dudes hanging out outside in this. I think they need to go back inside.
Go back in the closet.
Yeah, get inside. What are you doing out at night? I don't know.
Man.
I like it.
So they're out playing soccer with a bunch of people, and there's somebody there taking pictures of the game. There's always people taking pictures, okay? So I say that because there's evidence. There's got to be evidence, all right? So there's always people
Again,
taking
it was a different time. Remember how, like, Dad always had a fucking camcorder on him?
I know. So John Camp, the 10-year-old boy, and Peter.
Mellencamp? Every time I thought of that. Every time you've said it, I'm like, huh?
Don't even think so.
Until he changed it. Added the melon.
He added melon. They'll never find me.
It's a totally different guy.
So John Camp and Peter, now remember, Peter's the 40-year-old man.
Yes.
They tell the others that they're going to clean up the game afterwards and everybody can go. Like, we got this here.
Don't worry, I'll pick up these 6 cones.
Yeah, exactly. And so everybody leaves except for Paul. And Paul accidentally, like, I don't know, fucking looks to the left or some shit, and he catches Peter molesting John, like under the bleachers or some shit, but he's raping him.
Yeah.
This is essentially what's happening.
Oh, no.
After that, it was very normal for Paul to go to Peter's house and engage in sexual activity while Peter would film.
Okay, so Paul saw it happen to someone else and was like,
That's the deal.
He's into
here.
that.
That's what's going on here. And
I
now
see.
Paul is already being molested by all these other men, so he's like, let's see how much this guy's going to give me. I
Yeah.
don't know what his thought process was, or
Yeah.
if he's like, fuck, I'm trapped.
Yeah.
I have to go.
Yeah.
But now it's not unusual for him to go to Peter's house and be molested.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
So this continues until 1987. And during this time, Peter would fly Paul to California to be with him because Peter lived out there during a period of time. And Paul was between 13 and 16 during this time that he was flying him out all the time.
Jesus.
I know. They would fly Paul under the alias of Michael Phillips. So they were like being shady about it.
Yeah.
Paul also said that Peter took tons of video and photo evidence and kept it in his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
He also claimed that Peter would take him out to eat at the Godfather's Pizza in the Old Market in Omaha, Nebraska, and at a French cafe there.
Okay. Godfather's Pizza was the best in our town.
Was it? I don't think I ever had it.
It got shit since we moved back here, but
God damn it.
yeah.
He said at the French cafe, there would be parties with both adults and children, and in the bathrooms and back rooms, children were being trafficked to the adults. So remember this whole Pizzagate thing? Sounds like it was kind of happening, at least at the French cafe in this story.
Oh, thank God it wasn't Godfather's.
I know. I'm like, why did they mention the Godfathers? But then he doesn't say the pizza place. He says the French cafe is where these parties were happening.
Okay.
So interesting. Okay. Paul says the adults present at these parties would be Larry King. I mean, there would be a bunch of them, but these are the main ones that would always be there. Larry King.
Junior.
Junior. Harry Anderson, his first abuser.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Citron, who I just told you about. And Alan Bear, who I haven't gotten to.
Okay, but
So-
we know, yeah.
All of his core abusers were always at these parties.
Why is he going to these fucking parties?
Girl, he's getting paid to go do that
I
shit.
guess.
And they were rich, so they're flying in private jets everywhere. And he's like, all I have to do is be It's the Epstein files.
Yeah, it is.
All I have to do is be here, and I hate it, and I don't want to, and I want to leave, and I want to be free. But what am I going to do? Go back to the streets?
But if I put in my time now, maybe I can save up and blah, blah, blah.
Something. So Paul also claims that Peter would fly him to Council Bluffs, Iowa for these parties that would take place in a house where many of the same adults that were present at that French cafe would also be at these house parties. So they were traveling state to state and doing these things.
Okay.
Now,
This is awful.
It's fucking terrible, and it's going to get more awful. Now, before we move on much further, I want you to know that shortly after this interview with Paul, because this interview is in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after this interview, Peter Citron was charged and sentenced to prison in Omaha for sexual assault on a minor.
Okay.
He received a prison term of 3 to 8 years total after pleading no contest to 2 felony counts of sexually assaulting a minor. The crimes involved molesting 2 boys in his home, 11-year-old and 12-year-old boy, which those ages align with John Camp and Paul Bonacci at the time that Paul alleges the assaults were taking place on him. So I wonder if that's who they're referring to, but of course they don't mention any names.
Okay. Another thing, maybe just like for future in all of our lives and stuff, why isn't this like child molestation and stuff punishable by like, I don't know, life in prison? 3 to 8 years.
That's
Fuck
nothing.
you.
Because
Fuck
the
you.
people who are making these decisions,
are the people molesting.
yes, that is why.
It's awful.
That is why.
That's atrocious. Like, as a society, I feel like we could all get together and be like, you know what's wrong? Touching kids. We should make that punishment very high,
Absolutely.
very steep.
Absolutely. And it's why we should be kinder to boys so that they grow up to be respectable men.
Right.
And it's why we should get these fuckers out of power. And that's why the matriarchy needs to take over. Okay. I'll get off my soapbox. So,
Yeah.
police discovered in Peter's home when they did this whole fucking he actually did molest a minor. They discovered homemade videotapes with sexualized content involving young boys during the search. So they find evidence.
Yeah, because they fucking recorded everything.
In court, Peter admitted that he had previously been charged in 1965 in Scarsdale, New York, which is where he's from, with a sex-related offense involving a minor, but that those charges were dropped. So this would have been solved in fucking 65 if somebody would have done their job.
Oh my God. But the charges were dropped? What a fucking... Ugh.
After that earlier case, he had moved to Omaha to work as a columnist and TV critic, and he was fired from the Omaha World Herald shortly after his arrest in February 22 of 1990. He was sentenced to... Because he was 3 to 8 years is just what he could have gotten.
Yeah, the potential.
He was sentenced to 20 months to 5 years on one count, 16 months to 36 months on the second count. I was not able to find any follow-up on how much time he actually served or what life was like after prison for him, but he got caught and he just got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, because 20 months.
The most he would have got would have been 7 years from that math, that like quick, raw, dirty math.
Right.
That's the most that he would have got. I guarantee you he didn't, but you can't find it anywhere. There's no fucking information. It's wiped. It's like not publicly available. Maybe if you requested a FOIA, and I bet they wouldn't even give it, but I don't know. Maybe.
Right.
Anyway, I did find his obituary from June 28th, 2003, stating that he died of natural causes at the ripe age of 63 after, quote, many health battles. So that's how
Good.
Peter's story ends. But it's at Peter's Iowa house parties that Paul meets the next reoccurring abuser, the Alan Bear guy, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, Alan Bear, he was a wealthy Omaha businessman and department store heir. Now, the department store was like J.L. Berenstein or something, and I kept being like, J.L. Bean. I don't know what the...
LL Bean.
Yeah. But, like, they kept saying it like everybody should know this, so maybe it's like a big department store in Nebraska, or maybe it's like the umbrella department store for like fucking Target. I don't know, and I didn't look, but they kept referring to this.
Okay.
But the homie's got lots of money. He's spoiled, right?
Yeah.
He's an heir.
Yeah.
And he was the owner of an alternative weekly newspaper, The Reader. And turns out he would also watch or participate in sexual abuse against Paul. Now, it just so happens that Alan actually has a wife himself, and her name is Marcia. Now, Marcia's father, sorry, there's a lot of names. I promise it won't go far, so stick with me. Marcia's father, Ted Miller, allegedly helped Father Flanagan, who was the Catholic Church priest who opened Boys Town. Ted Miller helped raise the money to build Boys Town, the orphanage.
I think I remember this Sword and Scale episode now with Father Flanagan.
Okay,
I remember the Father
that's what
Flanagan
did it.
part. Yeah.
So Father Flanagan opened this orphanage called Boys Town. Alan's wife's dad helped basically fund it so that it could be open.
Okay.
And this orphanage is the same orphanage where all of these boys are being used and abused.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And Alan Bear married the daughter of the guy who funded it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying,
He's got his fingers
that's fishy.
prime in the pot.
That's fishy.
Yeah.
It's like literally shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
And like your supply, I know the fish supplier, so I can get us more fish anytime.
Right.
I'll just go to this orphanage and I could just get any boy I want. Like there's no problem. Like you're like, how are they getting out of here? His family owns it, essentially. They funded it. Like they're giant donors of it. So you could probably walk in and pick any boy you want.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why this orphanage is here. Sorry, Catholic Church, I don't mean to, but like, what if? Okay, so, and this is the part of the story. We'll see how far I got in my notes, but this is the part of the story that I was up late last night researching, and I'm like, oh, this is a problem, guys, because, like, spoiler alert, I don't think it stopped. Like, Boys Town's still a thing, which I will tell you about, okay?
Uh-oh.
So just hold that little fucking tidbit in your pocket.
Nugget.
Okay? So Alan Bear's father-in-law funded Boys Town.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Bear is now the new keeper of Paul.
Yes. Paul is around 15 at this time.
Something like that. Okay. Fun fact, Ted Miller, the father-in-law, died of a heart attack at the age of 66 in 1962. Which, again, I just always like to mention these young deaths because I'm like,
Interesting.
sometimes when you know too much, you end up dead. But heart attacks.
Oh, maybe.
But there's things that could make heart attacks. But that's 2 people now that I just told you about that died in their 60s. That have suspicious backgrounds that you can't find much on.
You did say natural causes and then 60-something, and I was like, oh, it's pretty young for natural causes.
For, quote, health issues.
Yeah.
Reoccurring health issues. I don't know.
But maybe it's also possible, you know?
It is, for sure. My dad died at 64.
Yeah.
Can happen. So, I found articles from 72 where people were chastising Boys Town because they were pulling in $200 million in donations.
What?
In 72s.
What?
In 1972.
Money.
200
It's like billions of dollars.
$200 million in 1972 in donations, but the services that they offered weren't impressive. And there were reports of, quote, internal issues.
Well, they weren't impressive to you.
Well, it wasn't like they were like teaching these boys and reforming them. It was literally just like a place for them to live, I suppose.
Yeah, like
and
a group home.
And they'd be like, $200 million, you must have a campus. And they'd get there and it's like,
Just a house.
it's just a group home, nothing fancy. These boys weren't educated. They weren't smart. Like they weren't being cared for.
Yeah. In the way that it would suggest.
For $200 million.
For Father
For a
Flanagan.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
What are we profiting from? Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
From a Father Flanagan. So, back to Alan and Paul. We'll go back to Boys Town, trust me. So, Alan and Paul and their house parties. These house parties always have the same general recipe of influential wealthy elites, often political in nature, commingling with younger underage youth. They would put on porn on the TVs, and they would film the adults sexually assaulting the children to make more porn, which is also what Epstein did.
At the house?
At these house parties, yeah. Oftentimes at these parties, people were being overtly or secretly filmed as a form of blackmail or extortion insurance, which we've heard before. These parties took place all over the U.S., including Washington, D.C. Paul actually claims that on several occasions he had sexual encounters with George H.W. Bush, George W.'s dad.
Oh, shit.
The OG Bush. This is the part of Sword and Scale that I was like, hold up. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Because it's the only political name I knew out of all of them, you know?
Right.
Because who the fuck's Larry King, you know?
Yeah,
But
thank God it's not George W., though. Like, I hope that man...
You know what? And listen, I don't know, but of all the weird shit I see, a couple victims have said, I never saw George Bush.
Yeah.
Or George W.
Yeah.
Like, he's okay, but then it, like, brings up all the others, like, giant X over the face. And I'm like,
Yeah.
is he, though? Is he? He's great to watch now.
Yeah, I love him
Like,
now.
all the clips back when
Yeah.
he's, like, dodging the flip-flop.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, to get drunk with that guy.
Yeah.
Must be a time. Or is it? I don't fucking know.
Or
man.
is it? I guess, yeah, we'll never know. But he's always seemed like such a lighthearted,
boy.
like,
Yeah.
like a, I don't know, goofy guy.
Yeah. Now watch this drive.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
So, Paul claims that he and other young boys would be hidden in closets at these fancy political parties at, like, the White House and in Washington, D.C. and shit.
Oh, my God.
These parties would be happening, and the boys would be in the closet, and, like, people would know that that's where you go if you want to get, like, sucked off or some shit, and that's exactly what would happen. Old Georgie boy would pop in, not W, HW, would pop in, and the boys would perform oral on him, and... Others obviously participated in shit. There were other political people that popped in, but Paul is specifically stating, I remember George H.W. Bush.
That's fucking gross.
Now, this is the part also in Sword and Scale where allegedly there is a picture of a missing boy that I will get to eventually, and it's at one of these parties, and you can see him kind of in the background, and Paul claims that, yeah, that boy was there, and I remember that.
And he's
Okay.
a missing child.
And he's in a photo, and he's a missing child. But it is one of those, like, newspaper photos where you're like, is it though?
Yeah.
But, like, if you were the mom, you'd be like, that's my fucking kid.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so Paul says that he was also flown to New York where similar parties would take place in the motherfucking Twin Towers.
Oh my
In the Twin
God.
Towers, okay?
That's a fucking office building.
I know. Well, this is what's weird. Paul alleges that Alan had invited him to a party in apartment 406 in Twin Towers. And I was like, there were apartments in there?
I mean, I guess. I didn't know there were apartments in there. I thought it was all office buildings. I thought it was like
I thought so too.
where you went to trade the world's goods.
But if you
or
have
whatever.
a fucking insanely large office building, you could have a couple apartments in there and have no idea.
Sure.
They were doing constructions on entire floors and had no idea.
Right.
But I don't know. That's what Paul's saying, okay? Paul was only 13 or 14 years old when he would go to the Twin Towers for these parties. Bruh. He said that the first 10 to 15 times that he met with Alan at this apartment.
10 to 15 times.
First 10 to 15 times. Paul would massage Alan and Alan would masturbate. So the Jeffrey Epstein shit, right? Mm-hmm. Paul would get paid about $60 for his encounters with Alan, which is more than 10 that Harry was giving him. So
I guess, yeah. Well, inflation. It's later now.
not much. It's like 2 years later. And at the same time, Alan eventually started to drug Paul during their encounters, and he would administer drugs via syringe.
Oh, I hate that. What the fuck?
But that the usual drugs that would be offered would be alcohol, cocaine, and LSD. Could you imagine fucking tripping balls and being raped? That's got to be the worst case scenario. Or like tortured.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
I
my
was like,
friend.
maybe you can just go somewhere else, right? Like in
Maybe.
your brain. But I've
Maybe.
never done LSD, so I don't know how it works.
Dude, and every time I'm high, I feel like people are like, oh, I smoke weed because it helps with my pain. Every time I'm high, I'm like,
I can feel everything.
my ankle hurts 10 times worse than it did before. I'm hyper aware of everything.
Now I feel it radiating.
Oh my God, that sounds like my nightmare. But I live in my head a lot, so maybe
Right.
that's why. Okay, and you got to imagine these people being abused have good ways of disassociating.
Yeah.
Now, on a few occasions, Alan offered Paul $5,000 to have sex with Alan's wife, but Paul refused every time. Alan's
What?
wife. Alan's wife.
What?
Alan's wife.
Why would he refuse?
The daughter of the man funding Boys Town. Because Paul has fucking morals. I don't know. He's probably like, I like dudes.
I'm gay now. Yeah. Like, you've done the damage.
I don't even know what to do with a woman.
Not damage, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, he's been fucking raped and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have to imagine if you're abused by somebody, especially of the same sex, that has to impact your own like sexual health. Like, I don't even know what I am now because what if I was gay and now I'm grossed out because you raped me?
Right.
Or what if I am gay and I like it and now I have to deal with that affliction of being raped? I don't even know, man. I can't imagine.
Was the wife also wanting that? Do we know? We don't know, right?
Girl, I have no idea. I have no idea. But also, listen, and I'm not trying to, like, because I don't know anybody's story, right? But, like, if her dad was doing things that could potentially be nefarious, maybe they were all out of his good heart. Like, oh, I'm donating to the Catholic Church. I'm so great. Because that's the way that they try to phrase it, right? Mm-hmm. But what if he is doing all these bad things and she's also a victim growing up in it and now she's just like, I married this man who's also doing the same things. You have to know something's up, right?
Right.
Like 10 to 15 times in the beginning. That's a lot of times to have meetings where, you know,
a child
where
shows
are you
up at your
going?
house.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. I don't know, but he refused every time. Alan would also make his son Ted have sex with Paul.
That's gross. This is not a family fucking affair.
Girl, it's fucking foul. Ted was about 22 years old at the time.
So he's a grown-ass man, too.
Mm-hmm, to 13 or 14-year-old. But it sounds kind of like you have to play the game or else you're going to get nixed. You don't get the networking. You don't get the job. You don't get the riches. You don't get the power.
Right. You have to do the thing. We stay hungry. We devour.
That's right. Get it, girl.
Sound like the next thing you were going to say.
That's it. That's the chant they say. Shit. All of this was happening at those Twin Towers, right? Mm-hmm. Alan began to ask Paul to do the same recruitment thing that Paul was doing for Harry, where he was bringing like other young boys around so that Alan could molest them. And Paul would get thousands of dollars through Alan for every boy that he would bring.
Jesus.
So much better pricing for Paul.
Yeah, well.
Alan flew Paul to California, Washington, Arizona, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, Minnesota, and Colorado.
Jesus.
All
Aruba, Bahama, too?
All in search of boys. Like, they were looking for boys.
How's he going to get boys at these places? Like, go to the local arcades?
I guess, and be like, hey, I'll give you $50 arcade tokens. I was going to say card. They were tokens then.
Right.
And, you know, all you have to do is come help me move this couch in my dad's house. Psych, rape. I don't know.
They just fucking take them? Because, like, what are they going to do with an out-of-towner kid? You got to either take them and then have them in your fucking...
Girl, they'd be kidnapping these children.
Yeah, like, they got to be kidnapped then, right?
Yeah,
so then...
They're housing kidnapped children. Yes.
Oh, my God.
They are housing them. That's exactly what's happening.
At the boys' club or whatever? The boys' home?
Yeah, at orphanage in these places. Like, the keepers, like Epstein was. Like, yeah, you get to live on this fucking... island house. This is great, isn't it?
Jesus Christ.
You're kidnapped, but isn't it great? It's a beautiful life, beautiful prison. That's what they were doing. It sounds like this little network, it was common practice to ask the victims to recruit friends or others to come into the network, much like we hear in the Epstein case, right? Mm-hmm. Also, it turns out that some parents were actually being bought off and they would drop their children off at these homes in exchange for very large sums of money. They were like selling their children.
Bruh.
And this is the thing that like really frustrates me because people are like, there's no way. And I'm like, there's abso-fucking-lutely a way. Like people are awful. People are money hungry. That's why the system works.
Yeah, I could not imagine.
I couldn't either.
Look at your sweet little kid's face.
Even
when they're being a fucking asshole.
I know. Well, and then you have to figure, too, some of these people might also be victims of this, right? And so if they have a children by rape or something. I don't know. Jesus. I'm not trying to justify. I'm just trying to explain scenarios, right?
Yeah.
In other cases, it was...
I'm stressed, man.
Girl.
I don't like this.
And I've been researching this every day for 8 hours. I'm like, I need a mental health break. That's why I'm falling apart because my child won't go to school. I'm like, you need to go to school. I need a fucking break.
I could drop you off at someone else's house.
I will get
for a large sum of money.
I would never.
No, exactly.
God.
Like, could you fucking imagine?
Not even a chance. Not a chance. And that's all I'm thinking when my kid won't go to school. I'm like, do you know what other kids have to deal with?
There are other options.
Never. Okay, so in other cases, it was abuse of children from orphanages. And when child services alerted the police about the concerns, right? Like these orphanages are just letting these men take their kids, right? And when child services would step in, because obviously the parents aren't there to do anything, the police would do nothing, basically.
Yeah, like we'll investigate it, and then 30 days goes by, and
they wouldn't even investigate the allegations.
Well, yeah, that's what
They didn't investigate. Literally, part of the Franklin scandal is when they started looking into it. They were like, Do you guys know, like, Boys Town and shit has been getting flagged up for, like, poor practices and, like, children being abused and stuff? And there's all these files that have gone nowhere. That's fishy, right? Like, why haven't we looked into that? No explanation. Just didn't investigate. The police are in on it. They're not investigating.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't until the Franklin's financial scandal blew up that even anybody was aware of what was going on. And then because of investigators Gary's work and uncovering all of this and starting to interview people, that we understand what the network was like.
Mm-hmm.
Paul explains that on one trip to Sacramento, a 12-year-old boy by the name of Jeremy, who was from Idaho, was murdered sometime in either June or September of 1985. Now, before I get into Jeremy's story.
June or September are two vastly different
I
months
was just
me.
going to explain that. So before I even get into Jeremy's story, you have to remember that the person giving you these claims doesn't have a watch, doesn't have a calendar, doesn't know what time it is. He is being held captive.
And he's a child. Like,
He's
I
got
couldn't tell
context
you
clues.
where I was at 9. You know? Like,
and thousands of these parties,
Yeah.
thousands of these events, thousands of these abuses. This one stands out because somebody got murdered. It's not the only one where anybody got murdered. He has several stories, but he's telling this one. So he's like between June and September, sometime there, which is only 4-month time frame. So pretty good. At least he's got the year. But anyway, so, but I hate when people try to discredit the victims because of that. I'm like,
oh, I'm not trying to discredit
no, not you.
it. Yeah.
No, not you at all.
Yeah,
I don't mean that. But like, it's like, God, like
did you expect him to write down the date in his journal that they're
Yeah.
definitely not going to read or take away from
right?
him? You know, like,
oh my God,
what?
which there is something about a journal. So
Also, I have to like redo the math on like the year that my mom died.
Honestly,
you know?
me
I'm like,
too.
what fucking, what?
well, I found out we've been living here for 10 years, and I was flabbergasted.
Right, right.
I'm like, no way, it's been 10 years.
I just told you the other day, I quit my job 2 years ago. I've been telling everybody, like, coming up on my 1 year. Bitch, you
I
lost a
know.
year.
Exactly. Okay, so Paul says that on the trip where Jeremy dies,
Yeah.
Larry King flew Paul to Sacramento in a private plane where they stopped in Nebraska they flew from Omaha to Sacramento, but on the way, or wherever the fuck they were, because they stop in Nebraska, to pick up video equipment. They then stop in Aurora, Colorado to pick up a 13-year-old boy named Nicholas. And they stopped in Nevada to refuel. So then when they land in Sacramento, so I guess he's telling this to be like, hey, this is the trip if you're looking at flight logs. Anyway, when they landed in Sacramento, Paul describes that a little Italian man who was a, quote, producer showed up and took Paul and Nicholas to a wooded area with Larry King and the pilot who flew them in there, right? Okay. So they're all together. They go to this wooded area. And the producer guy, he's going to be the one holding the camera. Just spoiler alert, okay? They told Paul that Jeremy was kidnapped from Idaho, which I tried to look up a Jeremy who was kidnapped from Idaho around the same time, and there's a big one that was like in 1986, but everybody's like, couldn't be the same one because he says it's 85, and I'm like, could it though? Because this kid doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
He could have had the year wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
He could have also lost a year.
But nobody's looking at it, nobody's investigating. I'm just saying I did that investigation on my own, and everybody's like, couldn't be, wrong time. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, we're all looking for the easiest excuse to say that's not the case, and then we walk away.
Yeah.
Which I realize we don't want to try to fit a square in a peg hole, but like, come on, let's try a little for the kids.
Yeah.
There's a murdered boy out there and a mom who's heartbroken. Anyway, so they go to this wooded area with Larry King, the pilot, the filmer guy, Nicholas, Jeremy, and Paul. Paul sees that Jeremy in this wooded area is being held captive in a cage that was put there.
A cage.
A cage.
Already in the woods?
Already in the woods. They let Jeremy out of the cage and they told him to run and forced Paul and Nicholas to chase him down.
What the fuck?
It was like a hunting thing. To chase him down, to drag him back to the men, and then they were forced to have sex with Jeremy. And it was all being filmed. And then all of the adult men who were filming and everything, and they started beating on Jeremy, and then they all took their turn with him, molesting him.
Jesus Christ.
He was pretty beat up, and like when it was all over. And then they shot Jeremy in the head and they killed him.
Oh my God.
And then they all go back to the hotel. Because that's the only reason they flew in for. Was to hunt down this kidnapped child. Girl, they were kidnapping him to do this. To make films and shit so that they could sell it and make money. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And also, just so you know, too, these are also forms of extortion, right? Like, I have high political figures on film doing insane shit.
Yeah. Well, and it keeps Paul and Nicholas under
Quiet.
their thumb.
Yeah,
Because,
terrified.
Yeah.
Of course I'm
think
going to
that
do what you
could
tell
happen
me.
to you.
So when they get back to the hotel in Sacramento, Paul was fucking horrified, and he tried to slit his wrist and commit suicide. He's like, I want out, I'm done.
Ew.
He's not successful. And after that, after witnessing his fucking death and all of this shit, whatever, the pilot decides to come in, even though Paul's trying to off himself, and fucking rape Paul. After all of that. So the pilot was described as having brown blonde hair, one brown eye, one blue eye, a scar on his left arm, and an eagle tattooed on his chest. And he bragged about being in the Air Force.
He sounds like a real piece of shit.
Gross. Paul says that was the last time that he saw Larry King. So that was his last event with him.
Okay.
But that there were many others, and he was always at this party, whatever. Which is the reason we're here. Like, hey, you know Larry King? And he's like, not only do I know him, I know everybody.
Let me tell you a story about Larry King.
In the interview,
Junior.
Paul says the last sexual encounter that he had with Peter Citron was in February of 1989, and that his last encounter with Alan Bear was in November of 1989, which would have been just right before when Paul was arrested. Like, literally, I think he was arrested in November. So, like, he was being abused up until that point. So the reason he's in detention center for child molestation is because his captors were forcing him to molest children, and he, the victim, is the one who got in trouble for it, not the actual predators, which is also
But
typical.
how old was he at that time?
I think he's young 20s
Okay.
when he gets finally brought in, but he's still in the abuse. Like, he doesn't have anybody to take care of him. This is his whole life, right? So that's when Paul was arrested, right? In fucking November 89 and all that shit. But just to give you an idea of how fresh he is out of this abuse as he's telling us the story. Like, this shit just happened to him. He just got out of it 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And now he's living in a detention center, which who even knows what's happening, but it's got to be a little less fucking abuse than back there.
At least he got some structure.
Oh my God. Now, I already told you about Peter Citron. He's the one, like, what happened to him in the end. He's the one who got charged with sexual assault charges, but we're not quite sure how long he spent in fucking jail or whatever.
Yes.
But Alan Bear, interestingly, he was indicted on 2 counts of paying men for sexual acts. I couldn't find any information on a conviction or whether the case was dropped or anything, but basically it seems like there's some court filings that align with a lot of Paul's allegations, right? Like, I've told you, basically every man that he ever encountered has ended up with some sexual assault charges, but, like, barely served any fucking time.
Yeah, or had it dropped completely.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, back to Paul's confession.
Okay.
The investigator Gary, he asks him how he was able to miss so much school flying to different states, right? Because it was all blurry, but basically here, there's rich men flying him all over the place to get other children to rape him and all this other shit. And so the investigator's like, how did you fly under the radar for so long? Like, how did you get away with missing so much school? Like, how did nobody catch on to this sooner? And Paul explains that basically everybody was involved. So he says that there was a doctor in Omaha that went by the name of either Cabe, K, or McCabe. He couldn't remember, something like that. And that this doctor would write him doctor's notes all the times. And that doctor was also sexually abusing him, but that's how he would get out of things. Like, he would claim an illness, and he would have a full-on doctor's note or doctor's fucking whole history thing. So, and they, the schools would trust that and allow him to miss the school.
Oh, my God.
So it's like a whole network. Paul also claims, and that's like how his absences would get excused. Paul also claims that the police department was in on it and that he had sex with a police officer in 1985, so he couldn't really file a report because he didn't know who to trust.
Yeah.
He said the officer drove a 2-door brown 1974 Nova, and that his name was John with a long Polish last name, and that
Shablowski.
and they would regularly meet at Drake Apartment Complex, which was located on 23rd and Leavenworth Street in Omaha, Nebraska, and they would meet there after the officer's shift was over.
So he has all this evidence. They could be like, hey, let me look at your cars.
Yeah, like, let's just check a police officer who drives that car.
Yeah.
We could have.
How many 2-door brown Chevy
Novas
are
driving around here?
Yeah,
Who is also a police officer.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate,
Narrow it
Paul's
down.
lack of trust and faith in authorities, he claims during this interview, which was done 1 month prior to Peter Citron's arrest, that there was a detective Hotch. I don't know. It's H-O-C-H. Hooch? Hoch? Hotch? Huck?
Hoke?
Hoke?
I don't know. I need to also say my dad drove a Chevy Nova.
Was he ever an officer in Omaha, Nebraska?
No, and it was blue. But
You can get a paint job. You probably painted that shit real quick when the news got out.
listen, I was born in 87. I don't know what he was doing in 85.
Okay, so this detective, I'm just going to call him
Hawk.
Hawk? Okay.
Hotch?
We got to pick one, and I got to stick with it because I'm
Hotchkins.
going to say his name a couple times. Hotch. Okay, we'll say Hotch.
Detective H.
Okay, so this Detective Hotch, he was harping on Paul, according to Paul in this interview. He's explaining to investigator Gary, like, hey, I talked to this Detective Hooch, and he was giving me a hard time. Did we just change it? Hooch, Hotch.
It's going to be whatever it's going to be, okay?
Hotch. I was talking to Detective Hooch, Hotch. Jesus Christ. Detective H.
Detective H.
We're in too deep, all right?
Yeah, I get it.
So Paul claims that Detective Hawk interviewed Paul, and when he was doing so, he told him, like, obviously Paul's like, oh, I'm being sexually abused. And Hawk was harping on Paul, saying that, why would you, like, ruin a good man like Peter's life? Like, when he brought up Peter, he's like, why would you make up lies about that? Like, Peter is such a good man. I know
that guy.
him.
Yeah.
Because it turns out that Detective Hawk was neighbors with Peter. And so he was like, why would you ever say that? That's fucking rude. Don't do that. Like, you're just a troubled boy. And now you're all fucking mixed up in drugs because your handlers drugged you.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. Like,
But
what
we
are you
don't need to
doing?
know
Why
where
are
you
you
got it.
lying? Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And
so
so
immediately you can't trust that detective anymore.
Exactly. Well, it also turns out that Detective Hawk had also been interviewing other witnesses related to all of this. Almost as if you're trying to get a handle on shit, but that's my own personal spin on it. But this Detective Hawk was also interviewing other people and interviewed a witness by the name of Alicia Owens prior to his interview with Paul. And Alicia made the same claims as Paul, and they basically backed each other up, their accounts, and they, unbeknownst to each other.
Yeah.
And they're saying the same shit. And Detective Hawk is telling Paul he knows that Alicia lied too, and basically scolding him, and like, for ruining.
I can see right through your guys' little
Yeah,
plan.
I
blah,
see
blah,
your
blah.
scheme you're
Yeah.
running here. It ain't gonna work. And Paul's like,
My guy.
my guy. This is the truth, okay?
Oh, my God.
Paul also says in that interview he gave Detective Hawk his diary and photographic evidence of Alan abusing Paul. I mean, there were so many photos, he probably
Yeah.
fucking jacked one. But
Yeah.
anyway, obviously he was being abused sexually in the photo. And when Paul got his diary back from the detective, Peter had been cut out of that photo and pages of his diary were ripped out. And one of the pages of his diary had the phone numbers of a lot of his abusers. Like he was keeping their numbers there. Yeah, that's not a good look, my guy.
How fucking...
And this is Paul's claim, so we're doing a he said, she said.
Yeah, but also, Jesus fucking Christ.
Jesus fucking Christ. And Alicia is backing his claims. So, Alicia Owens, she goes to the police. She makes her own claims, right? It sounds like her main abuser was a man by the name of Robert Wadman. Now, Robert just so happened to be the chief of Omaha Police Department. Girl.
And she had the fucking nerve, first of all, like braveness, whatever, to go and report this.
Tell this story, yeah. Now, Paul, in his interview, claims on several occasions that he witnessed Robert, the chief of police, having intercourse or sexually abusing Alicia at these parties. Like, Paul's like, I know Alicia. I
Yeah.
saw her there all the time. If Alicia was there, Robert was there. Like, Robert was her keeper.
Oh my God.
Basically, they were a package, not to Alicia's desire or want,
Right,
you know?
right.
A lot of Alicia's claims back up what Paul claimed as well. She alleged that as a minor, she was involved in the same network of sexual abuse in Omaha tied to influential individuals. She claimed that Larry King Jr. organized parties where minors were sexually abused in connection to the Franklin Community Federal Credit Union scandal. She alleged that these gatherings took place at locations such as the Twin Tower apartments and other private venues, like all these people's homes.
So all the same fucking story.
All the same shit. She stated that she personally attended these events and was subjected to repeated sexual abuse by multiple adults. She accused several prominent local figures, including the police chief, Robert Wadman, or Wadman, I don't know, and newspaper publisher Harry Anderson, and a judge named Theodore Carlson, which I didn't even go down his road. I was like, we have too many perpetrators.
A fucking judge,
A fucking judge, girl.
So judge, chief of police, fucking head of the credit union guy.
They were all participating in the abuse at these gatherings. She claimed ongoing sexual encounters with Omaha Police Chief Robert, right?
Yeah.
And alleged he fathered her child. A claim
Gross.
that later was contradicted by DNA evidence presented at trial, but I want to let you know that that's what happens if you ChatGPT this shit. It says, oh, that claim was illegitimate. But when you actually look into it, they didn't have enough fucking DNA evidence or he wouldn't give his DNA. So they called it an incomplete DNA profile, so they threw it out, quote unquote, but they just had the child's DNA and he refused his DNA. So I'm like that. So they're framing it as like it was inconclusive, so it got thrown out and she's a liar, but really he just refused to give his DNA.
So whoever his kids are now, if this hasn't been resolved by the end of this story.
Listen, we could do anything, but nobody fucking cares anymore because it was so long ago and all the people in power don't give a fuck.
I fucking care.
I know. What are we going to do? Single-handedly fund some DNA goddamn shit and go hunt somebody's
How
coffee
much
cup
could that
down?
be?
At least $50,000. I don't know. They'd be upcharging the fuck out of
It
everything.
can't be that much.
You don't think so?
For some DNA?
How many listeners have we got in Omaha? Do we have a Robert Wademan still living around there?
Are you in there?
Can we get a cigarette? Can we get him a cup of water?
I mean, just go get one of his legitimate children and be like, hey, do you still like
I
your
bet
dad?
you could family tree that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Get some familial fucking DNA. Get
Well,
his sister, who he doesn't talk to anymore because he fucking borrowed $5,000 and never paid it back, you know?
Well, you're going to love how this goes. So,
Oh, good.
she describes, back to Alicia, she describes being transported to different locations for the purpose of sexual exploitation and abuse. She alleged that other youths, including Paul Bonacci, were also victims within the same network. Spoiler alert, Wademan goes on to sue for defamations in these claims, but everything gets dropped because the courts determined that he did not suffer much from the claims and ultimately nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
So he fucking sued her for defamation after
What a
she was like,
fucking
he
asshole.
raped me so much I had a baby. And everybody else agrees. And he's like, nah, it's not like that. They're ignorant. Paul goes on to explain in the interview many other instances where he believes he witnessed or has some information on other kidnapped children and their murders.
Mm-hmm.
He discussed a 1984 murder where a boy's mom dropped him off at a farm in Waterloo, Nebraska, and Paul witnessed the adult men rape this 13-year-old little boy, and then they were like dropping bags of sand on his head to like knock him out so that they can continue to do these things
The
to him.
fuck?
I don't know.
Would that even knock you out or does this hurt a lot? I feel like a
mean-
knockout has to be like one like solid
Blow?
bink, not like a
Maybe
crushing.
they were like above the head throwing it. Or like maybe it was like cement on the ground, so he's being... I don't know and I don't want to think about it. Okay, so anyway, bags of sand to the head to knock him out. And someone... Okay, I already said spoiler, or not spoiler, but like trigger warning. Spoiler alert! Somebody impaled him with a pitchfork.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Paul saw his lifeless body being dragged away from the barn by the abusers after this. And Paul goes on to name several names, both adult perpetrators and children victims. And it would take me forever to track each one of these accounts down and validate if the stories are real or not. But in general, you can see a familiar pattern emerge where powerful and rich men are bribing troubled children with money in exchange for sex and more boys. It sounds very similar to that Epstein scheme.
But basically the same MO. These bringing
Basically
kids
the
out.
same MO.
And this one, the mom fucking dropped him off.
Yeah,
I'll pick you up.
right.
Never.
I guess. I don't know her part in it all. If she was like, oh no, he went missing, what happened? Or if it's like she knew and she got money. I'm not quite sure. But essentially what we're getting at here is even in all the short stories I've shared with you so far, there's been kind of supporting evidence in the end of like people having to face justice in some way, usually getting just a slap on the wrist. But like you have to imagine there's some truth in this, right? Like, or am I the crazy one just to be so naive?
No, I would imagine that there's some truth in this. I don't know, just given the details and everything. And
Right.
that these people do exist. Like, how would this 13, 14-year-old kid, number one, know about any of these people, be involved with any of these
Yeah.
people, be at any of these places or parties or houses? Like,
Right.
there's no reason that a 13-year-old child should know what the inside of any politician's home looks like, unless that's your parent, you know?
Right, exactly. Well, and it's funny you say that because I didn't put this.
Or whatever, not politician, but you know.
No.
Anybody.
Actually, I'm so glad you said that because there is one account somewhere in Colorado where there's like a house in Colorado that these children get abused in. And I think I did not put this because I was like, we can't. There's too many.
I'm going to add more pages.
Yeah. But Unsolved Mysteries takes Paul there later because he claims like the abuse happened here. They took him here. And before Paul even entered the house, he was like, this is what you're going to see. Over here is the cubby that they kept the children. If anybody came, they went under the floorboards here, blah, blah, blah. Went in there and all of that shit was true.
See, that's
Everything
crazy.
he said was true. And he had never been in there. Like, according to the people there.
Yeah. And he shouldn't know that.
No.
Like, that stuff's not on fucking the internet. At least it wasn't then, you know?
Oh, exactly. Like, what?
That's nuts. And
Also,
just proof. That's just proof.
I think so, too. Okay, so during this interview with Gary, Paul mentions several other names and allegations, and I didn't know how to fit them into a story because they're just kind of little snippets, so I threw them all here. So here we go. He claimed that he got paid thousands of dollars to have sex with Larry King and $500 for stripping for him. He also claims that he was abused in 1978 by a Catholic priest named Father O'Malley, but he couldn't remember the name.
It's O'Malley.
O'Malley. He couldn't remember the name. He said something like that, you know? Mm-hmm. And he may have...
They're all something like that. O'Flanagan, Flanagan, O'Malley, O'Connor.
They're all Irish. Like, what's going on? What's going on,
Catholic.
Irish Catholics?
Catholic Church.
And that father may have been from Sacred Heart. Paul says that he and his friend Sean, don't know who Sean is, just random Sean, okay? Were hanging out at Sean's house when Sean's younger brother, when the priest O'Malley, sorry.
It's okay.
This time. I'm sorry about this molester's name I'm mispronouncing. Fuck off.
He'll be all right.
When this fucker, sorry.
This fucking guy.
They were over at Sean's house, and his younger brother was there when the priest came over and invited Paul to attend his church.
The priest came to their house?
Came to Sean's house. Like,
Fucking
must have been Sean's
door
family
knocking?
friend or something. I'm guessing family friend.
Yeah.
And
And
Paul's
O'Malley's
just
a
hanging
pastor
out.
or father, right?
Right, exactly. And Paul goes to his church, and the priest fondled him and told Paul that he was blessing him. And then the priest performed oral sex on Paul, and then Paul onto the priest. Paul said that the encounters like this happened about 7 times.
Jesus.
He also said that he helped kidnap the missing paperboy from Iowa, Johnny Gosch, which is the case that I became obsessed with after listening to Sword and Scale, because I'm pretty sure that's what the case was mainly about, was Johnny's kidnapping, but then they threw in the Franklin scandal little bits. And this is what makes me want to look up all these missing kids' names and see if they're related to this scandal.
Yeah.
So, Johnny disappeared during his paper route in 1982. Mm-hmm. Paul claims that some men that he were with, like his abusers, took Johnny while he was on his route and pulled him into, like, because Johnny's whole story is that he was kidnapped while he was on a route and some, like, guy in a white van or something took him, right?
Okay.
Paul's job was to sit in the back of the van and to put the chloroform over Johnny's face until he passed out. And so he says that he was there when he got taken, and that's what he did, was he kept Johnny subdued. He said that Johnny was then put into the same sex trafficking network that Paul was a part of. Now, this is the kid that allegedly is in that picture with the presidents in it, the like grainy newspaper photo.
Okay, yeah.
It's this guy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Paul was able to describe scars and personality traits or habits that were not widely publicized, and Johnny's mother was convinced that Paul was talking about her Johnny. Mm-hmm. Johnny's disappearance is actually the reason why the whole missing kid on a milk carton thing happened. Johnny's mom would later find $1 in circulation that said, quote, "I am alive," and it was signed Johnny Gosch.
Fucking what?
And she claims that she received Polaroids of her missing son years later and really believed that he was still alive. So I'm just telling a little part of Johnny's story. There's actually so much more to it.
Okay.
But this poor mom.
Number one.
Yeah.
If $1 goes into circulation in a town, doesn't it, like, couldn't it just, they go fucking everywhere. Like, it then goes to the bank or wherever it ends up, right? Like, you pay for it somewhere, and then it goes to the bank, and then that bank ships it to its fucking mother bank or ship or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but then it, like, redistributes to everywhere. Like, it doesn't necessarily stay in that town.
No.
But he didn't stay in that town.
Right.
So the odds of that happening are fucking astronomical, right?
Which is what I think, like, when you typically, when you hear the Johnny story and, like, when you're looking it up, people really kind of push the mom off as, like, you're crazy. And I'm framing it like, why are we calling her crazy? This other guy who wasn't even related to any of this is saying that he knows all this shit.
Yeah.
Of course she's going to believe him because he's able to name off scars and things that weren't even in the media.
Right.
This guy has no reason to lie to her. And then also,
I would believe all of that, but like $1 bill thing, like either that is you need to go buy a lottery ticket because that is the luckiest,
crazy,
like that got to your mother or to your person that you who would care, you know?
Right. It could totally be a scam too.
Right.
You don't know.
Or just some kid wrote it and they're like, hey, I know that fucking this lady and she pissed me off because she double parked weird or whatever.
Right. But then she started getting Polaroids of her son tied up and shit.
That's fucked up.
That's fucked up. Years later. So she was like, he's still alive. And then guess what else?
Is it her son? Do we see the pictures?
You want to know another thing? I have not seen the pictures.
I don't want to know any more.
There
of this.
were other boys in photos that
head in the
Paul...
sand.
Yeah, I know, me too. There were other photos of boys of them tied up, and Paul was able to name them. Okay. That I think the mom had gotten.
Then they were like legitimate photos then, or like of legitimate people.
But then I think they interviewed these boys as adults, and they all denied it. But of course, they're being told that they're fucking. I've seen the photos. They're kids that are bound, and they have like gags in, and there's 3 boys on a bed, and they look scared. And there's never an okay time to see that kind of photo.
Right.
And then they're interviewed as adults who are probably still, I'm alleging, are probably still stuck in this mess. Mm-hmm. And they're denying the claims. But of course, you have all their keepers being like, you say shit, I kill you.
Yeah.
And then your police are also in on
tried.
It. And you don't know who's,
the chief of police is fucking in on it. Mm-hmm. It's fucking nuts, man.
She also claims, Johnny's mom, claims that Johnny visited her in the middle of the night one night. After years of him being missing. Like, he's a young adult at this point. Like 20s or something.
I would hog tie that motherfucker.
Well, he
and then
showed
put
up.
him in my own closet and be like, you're never fucking leaving here.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Yeah. She says that he showed up and he confirmed that he was stuck in a trafficking network and that he was alive, but that it wasn't safe for him to escape for her or for him. But that he's alive. Like, Mom, I had to do this. I had to escape. They don't know I'm here right now. I only have a minute. I just want you to know I'm alive. I'm okay, but I can't get out. And it's not safe for either of us to ever see each other again.
I can't imagine.
And everybody's like, the mom is crazy. And I'm like, the way I would burn the world down and the way I would be like, this dollar bill is from my son.
Right,
like, you know,
right.
Like, he's trying to
get that. Like, maybe he did write it and put it somewhere that she would find
get
it if he's still in the same town as her, where he could show up to her. But
and who knows? Maybe he's made himself in this network too, where he's like, "Hey, do me a favor. Go put this money. My mom works here. Go spend something here and just use this dollar. That's all I'm asking."
Right.
I don't know. There's no way to easily fit all this in, okay? So we're jumping.
Right.
So another wild claim that Paul Bonacci makes is that as part of his abuse, he was subjected to CIA MK Ultra style brainwashing stuff, and he was involved in a secret project called Project Monarch. Now, if you Google Project Monarch, there's no official anything, right? But there's tons of conspiracies. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, Project Monarch is a prominent, unsubstantiated conspiracy theory alleging a secret CIA program that uses severe trauma-based abuse to induce disassociation and create, quote, programmable human assets, often described as a continuation of the real, confirmed 1950s and 1960s MK Ultra experiment. So Project Monarch is allegedly the continuation of that when that shit got shut down. They're like, okay, we're just going to call it something else. And yes, to make like little brain soldiers who will just do whatever, like sleeper cells or whatever. So it is widely considered an urban legend focusing on satanic ritual abuse, occult symbolism, and celebrity mind control. Paul claims to be a victim of these ritualistic abuses, and due to them, he suffers from multiple personality disorders, like so many personalities that it became troublesome for these interviews. I didn't mention this at first because it could discredit him, right?
Oh, no.
But I am mentioning he has multiple personalities. Now, he claims, like, he has still evidence even of this Project Monarch, okay? He says that there was an FBI agent by the name of Jerry Wall who he would meet with to do these trainings for this program. He says that this FBI agent would also be at these parties, and he would bring a 6-year-old boy to these parties, and Paul assumed that that was Jerry's son. Mm-hmm. So this was part of an interview that I didn't finish listening, so there could be way more crazy claims. But just for some perspective, when he's doing these interviews, he's very upfront about his personalities. Like, there are only certain memories certain people can reach. Like, so in order for me to tell you about a certain time of my life, I have to
be at the forefront.
Right. I had to bring forward certain people. So, like, some of the interviews, you can hear the, like, attorneys or whatever, or depositions, I don't even know what they were, like, getting frustrated, like, okay, so who are we talking with now? Like, can you bring Paul forward? Like, who made these claims? And he'd be like, it was Paul. So they'd be like, can you bring Paul forward? And he'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, are we talking to Paul now? And he'd be like, no. And they're like, can you summon him? And then he would do, like, almost like the actor thing where you, like, bow your head and scene. And then he'd be like, okay, kind of look confused for a second, then be okay. And I'm like, is this performative? I don't know, because I don't fucking know. But there are people close to the case who claim that they did not believe it was performative. They believed it was real.
Okay.
And so even though he has all these different multiple personalities, it does not negate the fact that a lot of the things he said had verifiable evidence, right?
Yeah, well, but also, if you go through this amount of trauma that he's been through, your brain is going to do some fucking
Compartmentalize.
things to compartmentalize it
And then
for
you just name those personalities.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Like...
And you go through a lot of therapy to figure out who was I in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, turns out Todd always deals with the butt rape. Like, I don't know, you know?
I could see that something like that happening. It's unbelievable or like weird to us because we don't have that, so we don't understand that.
Right.
And
Well,
to
there were
anyone
some things he
outside
just-
seeing it, trying to like shut it down, like that's crazy, you know.
Right.
But
Well, and that's the MO, right? Is like
Right,
they always try to discredit the witness.
Yeah.
And what better way than to be like, he's unstable.
very unfortunate and fortunate that our brain does that because like good on you for protecting yourself or
Right.
good on your brain for protecting you, but also
If you want my
It
personal
sounds-
opinion, which you do,
yeah, I always do.
I think that this is, obviously a product of what he went through, but I think it's also by design so that they can discredit the witness.
Right.
I hope I make them crazy. I'm like, that's literally what the Project Monarch is for.
Right, right. That also probably taught him how to make different
I'm sure he was
compartments or
trained
whatever,
to do
right?
it. Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, man. That's fucking nuts.
But in order for that to be true, you have to believe in conspiracies.
Yeah.
So, that is the gist of all the claims, and there are several other victims who step forward and corroborate Paul and Alicia's stories with the private investigator, okay? Mm-hmm. Several others. I didn't list them all, but there is a bunch. It's not just Paul and Alicia.
Yeah. Good old Gary.
Good old Gary.
Just doing the fucking Lord's work.
Okay, well, we're going to get into Gary's story here.
No! Is Gary an asshole too?
No, Gary's actually still a good guy.
Oh, thank God.
But you are going to be upset. So, investigator Gary,
Gary boy.
he gets a ton of footage of interviews with these victims. He gathers a bunch of supporting evidence of claims, and he's starting to put together the finishing touches of the case before handing it over to the Douglas County prosecutors to take the information before a grand jury to recommend charging Larry King and running a sex trafficking ring.
Yeah.
He's like,
look at all this evidence I found.
oh shit, it's real.
Yeah. Here's
And-
it all packaged up with a little bow. Now you
Exactly.
go prosecute it.
Exactly. Now, allegedly, because remember, everything was filmed and everything, the rumor is that he had that kind of evidence. So it was indisputable what he had.
Okay.
Well, on July 11th, 1990, Gary died tragically when his plane crashed while flying back to Nebraska from Chicago with his 8-year-old son, AJ.
Oh my God, that's so sad.
The plane crashed in a cornfield at 2:30 a.m. The story goes that Gary was flying the plane back after taking his son to an all-star baseball game.
Gary was flying his own plane?
Yeah, like he had his own little Cessna or some shit.
He's flying his kid to an all-star baseball game? The
Fucking rich
life.
people, man.
Yeah.
Except for he dies. So
I mean, except for that.
his family immediately suspected foul play because there was evidence that the plane had almost like ripped apart in the sky, as if the plane had been sabotaged in some way, like mechanically, or a bomb or something had been on. Lauren Schmidt, or Lauron, or whatever his name is, Schmidt, the guy who was running the whole Franklin committee, who hired Gary, he also thought that Gary was targeted and that this was a homicide. So, like, this isn't conspiratorial. Everybody's like, that's fucking fishy.
Yeah.
Something happened
Yeah,
there.
and he had all of this evidence in this time frame and everything. Like, that's really suspicious.
Right. Well, rumor has it that before his death, Gary had told a few people in his close circle that he had gotten incriminating Polaroids specifically that confirmed the sex trafficking from the Franklin scandal stuff. And that was the smoking gun that he needed. Like, he was going and telling his inner circle, like, I can't wait for this to hit the fucking fan because
Oh my
I got
God.
some shit. And he always traveled with a briefcase with all of his key files for his cases. Like, that's how he kept them safe. And that briefcase was never recovered from the crash, and it's never been found in his personal belongings.
What?
So the theory is that that briefcase with the smoking gun is what they sought after, and they killed him and then took his shit, took the evidence.
What
or took
the
the evidence and then
fuck?
killed him. I don't know what order you
Okay, so it crashed into a cornfield. Wouldn't you then see, like, I don't know,
the shit?
a car's pathway that drove up to the cornfield, like
To
up to
get
the
something?
crash to, like, investigate it before the cops got there? Like,
Good.
our little fucking motorcycle track? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, doesn't that seem like we could just, like, investigate it?
Well, if the people investigating are also helping to cover shit, I don't know.
That's
I don't
fucking
know.
crazy.
And it's not like you can Google it and just see it, you know?
What year was this?
These was in the 90, I think. Hang on.
This motherfucker didn't
July
email himself
1990.
at AOL.com.
I guess not. Not incriminating
The
shit.
pictures of the stuff that he had, like, hey, let me just make sure it's all backed up.
Nope. He sure didn't. Put them in a briefcase, I suppose.
It's the most dangerous thing you could do.
I know. I don't even think emails could handle files like photos and shit. Like, it's not like we had scanners.
I mean, you could
take a picture of a picture
onto a floppy drive. Take the picture of a picture, put it on a floppy drive, bury it around the fucking town.
How are you going to get the picture on the floppy drive? There wasn't like scanners and shit. It's the 90s. We had a fax machine. You could have faxed them.
You could get pictures on the internet. You plug in your computer to your camera.
If he had a camera, it's the 90s. I don't know. Did everybody?
This motherfucker had a plane. He had a camera.
When were web cameras created?
He had a plane. He had a camera. And you got a Polaroid, take a picture of it with your camera, hook that shit up to your fucking computer, put it on a floppy drive, hide that shit under your floorboards.
I don't know.
Listen, all I'm saying is if you have
was briefcase.
Some sensitive information.
I feel like that's how it goes, too. Back in the day, it was all briefcases. It was all handcuffed to you.
Yeah, it was handcuffed to you.
I guess this one didn't have a fucking handcuff.
I've seen the fucking movies.
Yeah, exactly. So, when Gary ended up dead, and people were whispering that he may have been targets for investigating the Franklin scandal, several critical witnesses in the child sex trafficking portion of the investigation started to recant their stories out of fear that they would be harmed also. Mm-hmm. So you have to also remember these people were actively being threatened, and then they watch an investigator coming to save them get killed, and the case flops, right?
Oh my God.
So the committee carries on without Gary, and they collect all of that they can from Gary's case evidence, sans the important briefcase, and they present the case to a grand jury. The grand jury concludes that the key witnesses' accounts were unreliable after comparing their testimonies to verifiable timelines, and sometimes they were contradictory. Basically, a lot of the victims couldn't provide clear or exact dates, and they had been through significant trauma, so the order of things got kind of jumbled and everything, and the grand jury deemed the witnesses non-credible because of that.
You're a little jumbled after all that trauma you went through, so I'm just going to go ahead and assume that none of that trauma happened.
They weren't below 14.
Make sense?
Like, what?
How does that make sense?
They weren't 14 or below. They were 14 and 10 months. Like,
wow.
They're not credible because they don't have everything perfect.
Really fucked you up. Therefore, they won.
One of the things about Paul was that he wasn't able to describe one of his main abusers, like I guess he had a scar on his leg or some shit, and he wasn't able to identify that. So they were like, it must not have happened. But also, if you're being abused and tied up, you don't get privilege of seeing, and drugged. You don't get the privilege of seeing every part of their body. You might be fucking blindfolded or facing a different way. Like,
right.
What are they talking about?
You're not in control here.
Right,
yeah.
right. But that was like one of the discrediting things. Like, well, you would know that if he raped you.
Jesus.
Disgusting. So...
But he knows what the inside of their fucking houses look like.
Right. And where they hid the children, and that there actually is a cubby under the floorboards there or whatever. Like, what? Cool.
All right, cool. Yeah, love that.
So a lot of the people who could have corroborated their stories, Alicia and Paul, they recant. They back out. They don't want to get got.
They're fucking scared.
Uh-huh. But Paul and Alicia, they were the only two to stick to their guns and say that they were telling the truth to the best of their memories, and they wanted their abusers to be held accountable. And they refused to back down or be bought out or scared or anything. Now, Alicia, she goes on to do some stuff that I'm going to tell you about, but she claims that they were trying to actively tell her what she was going to say during this. Like, you're not going to say what happened. You're going to say that you were lying and that you were addicted to drugs and that you're sorry. And that's what you're going to do. And she
like,
refused.
Yeah. Sure.
She refused. She was like, absolutely not. You're going to hold them accountable. But she confirms that they were actively telling her to admit to lying.
Who is they? Like the court?
Like her. Yeah. Like she was in...
Like her lawyers or whatever.
I don't even know if she had lawyers. How does that work? Like, if you're in a grand jury, I would imagine you have lawyers, right?
Yeah.
I think it was like the state prosecutors or whatever were telling her she needs to admit that she was lying. Whoever was in control of shit, of what was going to happen to her next, they were recommending, maybe it was her own lawyers, to lie.
Yeah.
And she was refusing. Based on all of this, the grand jury characterized the overall allegations of a child sex trafficking ring as a, quote, carefully crafted hoax scripted by a person or persons with considerable knowledge of the people and institutions of Omaha. And
Why would children have that?
And they deemed there to be no evidence of a child sex trafficking ring taking place. A grand jury.
Jesus.
Said, nope, nothing to see here. The grand jury then turned around and issued perjury indictments on Paul Bonacci and Alicia Owens for refusing to recant their claims. Alicia went to trial, and she was charged with 8 counts of perjury. Basically, she got screwed because all of the people who could corroborate her claims were also involved in the ring and cover up and all of that stuff. They denied to be witnesses for her because they were afraid.
Yeah.
So, like, she would say, okay, you know, this isn't an exact quote, but, like, use example of, like, kids in school that would know, right? Like, this kid was with me because XYZ. Well, those kids would show up and have, like, attendance records that would say they weren't at school that day. They had an excused absence. But the people in the network could control those files and stuff. So they would just fudge paperwork to discount whatever Alicia was saying, essentially.
Yeah.
And then also, like we're saying, these people are abused. They can't get exact dates right. But this is the recipe for these 8 perjury counts. It's basically like, I mean, loosely, but let's look a little deeper and have some understanding here, right? Like, you're dealing with people who could fudge that. Like, can we look into that? Is there evidence of that? Or, like, maybe it wasn't this day, it was that day, but that still is true. That thing did happen. Let's talk to that person.
Right. What is with just blindly believing fucking men?
Well, you know, it works when you're in the network and it's part of the process.
Yeah,
You
until
know,
it
like-
doesn't. I mean,
All right. Well, hopefully it doesn't soon because I'm fucking tired of it. Also, all of the people that Alicia was accusing of these crimes were prominent, loved figures in the community. So it was like her word against theirs. And of course, they denied everything.
yeah, and they're fucking fundraising for their little leagues and whatever. They're giving back to their community to show themselves as this fucking great person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What? You can't mean Peter Citron, not the Citron.
Not him.
Well, she was sentenced to 3 to 5 years in prison on each of the 8 counts. She served her time and has been living a quiet life out of the public eye.
Oh my God.
I actually think she put herself through law school while she was in prison or something like that, and she handled a lot of her own case. So this is the part where I was like researching again last night, like Boys Town and this girl. This girl goes on to do some awesome shit. Like, she's still alive. She still claims everything is true. She served her time. Like, you can't get me for that shit. I did. I think she ended up serving 8 years or 9 years or something.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. She is now very educated and, like, you know, I don't know if she's a lawyer or anything like that, but she literally said that she was putting together all the files for her case and everything. Like, she didn't, so to your point of, like, was it her lawyers? I think it was her.
Yeah.
But again, there was only like one article I could find on her, and it was really long, and I was reading through it like, this is so much information. But it sounds like she's got a good head on her shoulders despite all of this shit.
The way that I just would have gone postal on that entire community.
I know, but she knows, like,
Yeah.
you can't win.
Yeah.
It's like playing a
that's not how you
fixed
win.
game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it would feel good.
Mm-hmm. Paul, his story is weird because he was recommended for perjury charges, but he was never punished. It's interesting that out of everybody that I named off who did get in trouble, right? Alicia, the female victim,
Fucking right.
served the most amount of time.
Right.
Paul, also
me.
a victim, didn't get any time, which I'm so grateful for.
Right.
I mean, he was already in for
He
whatever,
shouldn't
but
have, but neither should Alicia have. And of course, it's just like a fucking America
For
to
the
charge
woman.
a
woman victim to
Yeah.
be. Yeah. Anyway, just a fun little fact.
That's
So-
just a fun, just the only, Maxwell's the only one in prison. Cool.
Cool. And she's trying to get a pardon right now? Like, get the fuck out of
There
here.
was like 3 out of 4 fucking people were like, yeah, I'd pardon her.
It's insane. Absolutely insane.
Cool.
I hate it here. Get me out.
Yeah.
Now, because of the abuses Paul endured, like I mentioned, he developed a personality disorder, and he could like pull out the different personas and access different details of the specific abuse. Some of the interviews you see on YouTube, you can see him switch in between, which I kind of explained, which I think is interesting, but also it scares me that people discredit him because of that.
We don't know enough about our brain and what it does and everything to be like comfortable enough to just accept some
Like that,
things like
and
that.
we're quick to just be like, oh, they're crazy.
Yeah, that doesn't happen to me.
And the first thing anybody does in these cases is to discredit them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't get PMS. Sir, you're a sir.
Sir, that's because you don't have a uterus.
You'll never fucking know what it's like, yeah. Now, despite all of those claims of the child sex trafficking ring being found to not be credible, the FBI does determine that it is evidence that Larry King was stealing from the credit union and funding his lavish lifestyle. And in 1989, Larry and some co-conspirators were indicted for financial crimes.
Good.
So they were indicted during all of this, okay?
Yeah.
After an overwhelming amount of evidence came forward and proved that Larry had stolen around $39 million from the credit union,
Jesus.
Larry changed his plea to guilty because he was like, nah, I didn't do that. He changed it to guilty after all the evidence came out.
Do that Alfred plea or something?
All that fucking sex trafficking crime. He's like, yeah, for sure. It's just involved in fraud. Nothing else. Go on.
Yeah. Don't look over here.
Yeah. So he pled guilty and he was sentenced to 15 years for fraud in 1991. By 91, Paul sues Larry King for sexual abuse. Mm-hmm. And Larry just doesn't respond, likely because he didn't want to open that whole new investigation with all that shit, right? Mm-hmm. So Paul was awarded like $1 million for that case, but he never got paid. Like, Larry never paid it. But he did technically win because Larry never showed up, which I didn't know that's how it works. I didn't know you could just not show up. But he's already in prison, but only for 9 years. Like, what?
I don't understand that either.
I don't
you would
either.
think you'd have to be held accountable.
Well, not if you know people, evidently.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
He never gets in trouble for it. Nebraska State Senator at the time, John DeCamp, alerted the public to a cover-up happening within the government over the sex trafficking ring at the time, and he published 5 names in a memo about the main conspirators in the Franklin scandal. Now, I don't know where this memo went out to because I have tried Googling it to read it to find it, and I couldn't, but when you search what were the names were Larry King, Harold Anderson,
Harry,
Woody Varner, who is a former president of the University of Nebraska and a high-ranking figure at the Strategic Air Command Museum. Fun fact. Robert Bob Carey, then U.S. Senator and former governor of Nebraska.
Oh, my God.
And an unnamed police chief who I am guessing is Robert Wadman, or Wadman, which is Alicia's abuser. Mm-hmm. But that's my guess. He explained that the official institutions were not adequately investigating these claims. This is the fucking governor of Nebraska? State senator of Nebraska is saying all this shit.
Yeah.
He's like, hey guys, red flag.
That's wild.
He explained that they're not looking into the claims adequately. The grand jury determined that John DeCamp's memo was harmful. And needless
Sir,
to
you're perjuring.
Yeah. Needless to say, when John DeCamp was up for re-election for state senator in 1984 at the time, he did not win, and he lost to someone named Nancy Hawk. Same spelling, H-O-C-H, okay? So I looked her up because I'm like, we love a woman in power.
Sure.
But what's up with her? She did a 500 million charities or whatever like they always do, which I'm like, fishy, but okay, I don't have time for you, right?
Yeah, did you check them all? They're not real.
Her obit came out, and she just so happened to have a husband named Robert Hawk.
The detective.
Detective Hawk, right? Mm-hmm. Well, her husband's name was Robert Hawk, and he was a lawyer in Douglas County, Nebraska, and he was disbarred for client fund misuse and ethical violations in 2017. He waived his right to formally contest the charges, and he agreed to be disbarred, probably to avoid an investigation. So maybe in Paul's testimony, Hawk wasn't a detective, but instead a lawyer, and he didn't know the difference while he's being interviewed by this guy. And Hawk was trying to dissuade them from complying by convincing them that they were lying about the neighbor, Peter.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know, but that's a rare last name, right? And in the same city.
Right.
I could be wrong.
I mean, it could be cousins or something too, right?
I could be wrong. And I searched Detective Robert Hawk or whatever, and it never showed up, but we got a lawyer Hawk. So I'm thinking maybe it was a lawyer.
Like you're saying, is someone else that could be in the room in an investigation.
Absolutely.
You know?
Giving a deposition or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I know you're lying.
Yeah.
And if we're wondering how we all got here, there's police involved, there's lawyers involved, there's state fucking government involved. Like, of course we got here.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
There's no confirmation that Nancy Hawk is the wife of that Robert Hawk.
Yeah.
Other than it was like, he was a great lawyer and everybody loved him. And then when I Googled it, there was a case about him fucking...
He was a great lawyer and everybody loved him,
being
except
an
for the
awful
people
lawyer
that he fucked up.
Yeah, except for all those cases back there.
Yeah.
So John DeCamp, the senator, right? He goes on to write a book titled The Franklin Cover-Up, Child Abuse, Satanism, and Murder in Nebraska, which in all of Paul's shit, I didn't even go into the satanic ritual things. I didn't even touch on that.
Right. But there was
it's
a child
there.
being kept in the woods in a cage that they fucking hunted
I'm sure it
down
was like a
and killed.
fucking blood moon or some shit. There had to be something around it.
Was it at fucking 2 a.m. or some shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. This book exposed all of the corruption and outlined the child sex trafficking ring investigation from the inside perspective. It essentially showed that the system they were running is kind of perfect because the victims become so damaged that they have mental health or substance abuse issues and their credibility becomes shredded. And oftentimes the drugs/money are what keep the youth coming back for the abuse. So they're like, if you're abused, just leave.
Yeah, that's
But it's
all
all
they're
they
saying
know.
with the Epstein stuff right now.
Exactly.
It's different than that. It's not how it fucking works.
In 2009, an investigative journalist by the name of Nick Bryant published a book called The Franklin Scandal, a story of power brokers, child abuse, and betrayal. He was the only other public figure pushing back at the narrative that the Franklin scandal was an elaborate hoax, because everybody was like, that was crazy back there. Could you believe that was a hoax? Like, that's crazy. And he was the only one like, hey, I don't think that well,
None of that shit was a hoax.
but like publicly speaking out against it,
Yeah.
right? And he agreed that it wasn't being properly investigated. Nick claims that the people close to the scandal still maintain the Franklin Scandal Wikipedia page to this day, and they never let any of the truth that he uncovered in his journalism to be published on the page. Like, he's tried, and it gets wiped away, like, instantly, because they're all managing it.
Yeah.
Which also in the whole Epstein thing, they say that, like, that's where a lot of the conspiratorial things came about, was on this 4chan, that allegedly the bad guys were sitting there like, let me muddy the waters and create these crazy claims so that it doesn't make sense, which is also like QAnon shit. I don't even know. I didn't even go there, but interesting claim. So, of all of the allegations in the book, Nick claims there is a broader cover-up from the government and law enforcement, and he names people and locations and times and such. So he comes with receipts. He's never been sued for defamation for the book, so the argument is that it is probably an accurate depiction of the truth, because why wouldn't you sue for that? You know,
Right.
they sue for defamation for anything else.
Right.
So, Boys Town, are you ready?
Oh my God, yes.
It's still running and active today. They pull in an average yearly donation funds of $500 million.
What the fuck?
It's no longer just a shared house, though. It's like this whole campus now, quote unquote. It looks like a fake campus to me, but like there's really people there. But like people go and like visit it and they're like, oh, it was so great to see where Father Flanagan put this cornerstone or whatever. And I'm like, the way I would rather die. Like that looks so boring. That looks like a cult thing to go visit.
Right.
But I don't know. I could be wrong. This is off of a quick couple-minute Google search of looking at the website and being like, what the fuck do they do? Why is there a campus? I have so many questions.
I mean, I'd go visit it for all those questions.
Well, girl, I'll go visit it now. But, like, these people seem like they're just... It's on, like, TripAdvisor. Like, it's a beautiful campus.
The fuck?
What the fuck? There's
Better be a beautiful fucking campus for $500 million a year.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that beautiful. I was looking at it. I was like, this looks like $3 million tops.
You could have done some more cypress trees bordering this bitch or whatever.
For $500 million, I expect a gala,
year.
a staircase to the heavens.
A ballroom.
Yeah. A ballroom with the underground bunkers for the military. Oh my God. Okay, so it's not just a shared house. It's a whole campus with...
It's a shared home.
It's got like a university or something, and there's now multiple state locations of Boys Town. Okay?
First of all,
Yeah.
I hate the name.
Hate it.
Hate it.
Hate
it's
it.
very like Lost Boys, you
Hate
know?
it.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I just don't like that.
Well,
That's
now
a
it's boys and girls, but they still call it Boys Town. It's like
Which is
Boys
fucking
Town, Nebraska.
stupid.
It's like a city now.
That's stupid.
It is
Boys
stupid.
Town. Boys Town. Fuck you. Get out of here.
Fuck you.
don't
Get
deserve
ready.
more
It
stuff.
gets worse, okay? So it's a 501c3 status, which means the organization doesn't pay federal taxes, and people who donate can often deduct those gifts from their own taxes, right? So if you donate, you don't have to pay taxes. Our own government, U.S. Department of Education, donated $11.3 million in 2024.
Why? Why would our government donate to a church?
Our government donates to so much shit. It's because they get these funds, these general funds allocated for education.
Yeah.
And then you go petition for a bit. Hey, I need some money. And if you're like, hey, I know fucking Father Flanagan, we should give him this part of our budget. And then they get it.
That's fucking
But also,
crazy.
you have to remember, these people making these decisions are also probably involved in the abuse. So they're like, don't worry, I'll get us funding.
Yeah.
That's why they're there, is because they can get the funding.
It's just a big mafia.
It is. It is. So, our own U.S. Department of Education donated $11.3 million in 2024. Now, allegedly, it's a 5-year contract, so they'll get that money over 5 years. Mm-hmm. But still, it's a fuck ton of money from our American government, and there's so many other people donating.
The Board of Education.
Yeah, but don't worry, because ICE is well funded. Mm-hmm. They pass that shit in the night when you're sleeping. It's so fucking... I want out. Somebody
Don't take me out.
burn it down. Not trying to condone violence, but there's some people who need to be violented. All right, so
Violence isn't always the answer.
sure. So many of the public
sometimes.
reviews. So this is the part where I was staying up really late and I was like, I need to call it because, again, if you just like Google Boys Town, USA, it's all fancy and whatever. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. Like my red flags are going off everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so I Googled the Better Business Bureau website because I went to fucking business school.
They have a B
What is their BBB rating? Okay. And I did.
on
And
Angie's list or whatever.
if you go on there, there's several 1-star ratings and some
I got
mention.
fucking molested here.
Well, some of them mention how they are too hands-on with the kids. One person commenting that they left bruises on their 4-year-old daughter's arm.
What the fuck?
After her daughter, I think that they might have like psychological services and stuff for children. That's what it sounds like from reading. I didn't read their like About Us site or whatever because it's all Father Flanagan, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you do?
But what do you do?
It's almost like one of those really fancy sites that you go to and you're like, this looks like a cover for something. Like, I
Yeah.
don't get it. And they're all generic photo stock photos. It sounds like in this case, for the person writing this review, their 4-year-old daughter was being seen, started to throw a tantrum. And they were like, why don't you go get your car and pull it around and we'll keep an eye on her. And while she did that, she got back and her daughter had bruises all over her arm from them like holding her down. But she's 4 and she's there for what I'm assuming is a psychological evaluation or something if she's having tantrums or like, why is she there? And if she can't communicate to you what had happened to her, you just see bruises. That makes me question so many things. So ew, okay? Charity Watch, which I guess is something that grades charity, they grade them a B-. They recently lowered Boys Town's grade because the charity has a huge stockpile of money, over $1.5 billion.
What the fuck?
The watchdog
For a nonprofit.
argues that if a charity has enough saved to run for several years without any new donations, they should not be asking for more.
Especially from the government,
Right. And I guess
who could be giving to, I don't know, useful
anyone
places.
else. Yeah. And I guess that they're really known around town. Like if you live around them, they fucking flood you with direct marketing shit. Like you'll get letters in the mail and you know how like they'll give you like fucking printouts that you could put the stickers that you put on your mailing or whatever. Or they'll give you $1 to be like, come be a part of our survey. Well, they're giving like koozies and socks and all kinds of like direct marketing shit. And people are like, you could have saved your money. Like stop throwing this at us. Leave us alone. We don't want your shit, right? So S&OP Global, in late 2025, they downgraded Boys Town's financial rating by 2 notches because the organization took on $370 million in new debt to expand their research hospital. What is that about? What are we researching at the hospital, my friends? This is
Yeah,
a
that's
boy
weird.
for trouble, or this is a place for orphaned and troubled teens.
Right.
What are we
right.
researching?
What are you experimenting? What are you researching?
Fucking weird. BBB Wise Giving Alliance, which I guess is another scale, they are still, quote, accredited by them, but they technically fail one of the 20 standards to be accredited because their board doesn't do a formal self-review every 2 years. So they're just going unaudited. Also, fun fact, they had to shut down their California location because they have them in like Texas, Florida, California, whatever. They had to shut down their California location because we have laws about the length of stay for youth for treatments. So it can only be like a few months or some shit. And Boys Town is like, well, we need at least 2 years with these kids to fix them. And because of that, they could no longer get funding. So they had to shut down. I was searching last night, like, whatever happened to the property? What's going on? Girl, some random lady. I'm not trying to be a dick here because this could be me being a dick. So bear with me. But I'm also a pretty smart girl and I like to call bullshit. So there's this lady who buys the land for $1 million. Somebody gave her $1 million and she buys the land, which has like a couple houses on it in California for $1 million. She just got all this land, okay?
Must be nice.
And she turned it into a home for sex trafficking women to come, like a sanctuary. And she loves it, right? She was abused herself. So she's creating this safe space for them to use this one fucking Boys Town place for women.
Potentially once abusive place.
Yeah, for women, for $1 million. Somebody granted her $1 million to do this. Who did that? Who gave her the $1 million, and why was it only $1 million? Red flags.
Say even if she came up with $1 million, like,
and this isn't like the 2017s or something. Like, it's
crazy.
fairly
like,
recent.
You can't buy a house.
No,
one house in California,
and it's on land. Like it's kind of like a commune, you know.
Where in California is it? Do you know? Is it
It's like
Napa
Orange
Valley?
County area, but like
what
in
the
this
fuck?
girl, I know. Okay, and it's named like Vera's Safe Haven or something like that. Again, I could be being a dick because if it really is to help these women, I feel like an asshole. But I went on and read those reviews, and all those reviews were awful too.
Uh-oh.
They were like, I went there and they did not care for us. It literally was like, sit in this room and watch this cartoon TV. They get paid. They get tons of money that comes in again, similar to what was happening at Boys Town. The same shit. They just have a different name. And now they allow girls instead of boys. Like, it's not just for the boys. And they're not actually rehabilitating them. They're not helping. Now, other claims were like, they're the best, but also these people cook those. Like, they hire people to write that shit.
Right. That you can buy reviews and stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know. But that's still going on. To this day, it's still open, that one.
Let's go there.
And so is Boys Town, just for the record. Okay, another fun fact about Boys Town is that I guess there was a 1930s movie made that was called Boys Town that was about the actual Boys Town and Father Flanagan. And that movie helped the charity gain popularity in the 30s. So it was like a famous thing because it was in the movies. Redditors have recently claimed that they were housed at Boys Town's locations and had horrible experiences and abuse. And it's still open. There are active lawsuits being filed against Boys Town for a history of sexual abuse at Nebraska Youth Residential Treatment Centers. And I was reading directly from this, I think it's a lawyer trying to like put together cases, you know, like if you've ever had mesothelioma. So at levylaw.com, there's this whole page dedicated to these crimes and claims that in February of 2025, a former resident of Boys Town filed a lawsuit alleging years of sexual abuse at Boys Town in Nebraska from 1988 to 1991. A male teacher allegedly groomed, sexually assaulted, and raped her. So I guess you could go to Boys Town as a girl. Witnesses reported inappropriate behavior, such as the perpetrator slapping her buttocks, kissing her in front of others,
The fuck?
and spending time alone with her.
Hate it.
The lawsuit alleged Boys Town failed to protect the victims and hid the abuse. In 1995, a priest told her to repent and sent her money,
The fuck?
which she believed was meant to delay the reporting until the statute of limitations ran out.
Oh my god.
In 2000,
There shouldn't be one.
fucking greed. In 2021, two former residents of Boys Town filed a lawsuit alleging negligence by the faculty after they were allegedly sexually assaulted by their house parent, Sherdale Green.
Dale.
Now, Green allegedly groomed, groped, and made inappropriate remarks towards the victims. Claims came out in like November 2023, and in September 2024, Sherdale was dead. Okay, so he's dead now, just so you know.
Shit.
Another one that I think is pretty fucking fishy. And he was in his 40s when he died or something like that. Maybe 50s, I
How'd
don't
he die?
remember. But
We don't
kind
know.
of, it doesn't say. It was just like, to be remembered. It was another obituary that I pulled up, and I was like, that's a pretty fucking specific name for that area. Like, what? Sherdale?
Right.
And Green as the last name? Come on. So anyway, so he's dead, which is convenient because it's only a couple months after the claims started coming out that he did this, that he ends up dead.
I mean, maybe he killed himself because of the claims.
Could be. Or maybe he got because they were like, if you start singing like a bird, that's going to be a problem for me.
Yeah. Or maybe he killed himself.
Yeah. Wink, wink. And he's hiding out somewhere in those floorboards?
No, I just meant like he got.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, in 1997, a youth was allegedly bullied for being gay by his house parents and other residents at Boys Town.
That's rude.
He was also allegedly sexually assaulted by another resident. Staff at the faculty allegedly knew about the sexual assault but blamed the youth instead of taking action to protect him.
Oh my god.
Reports revealed that 12 alleged rapes at Boys Town were reported to police over a 5-year period. In 2018, house parent Jaime Rivera Jr. admitted to having sex with a 15-year-old. In 2015, staff member Robin Wood was convicted for engaging in sexual relationship with a 17-year-old. In 2021, the Nebraska Attorney General's investigation uncovered credible allegations of abuse involving clergy connected to Boys Town in Omaha. In the 1960s and 70s, Reverend Patrick Henry, a former lay social worker and house parent, allegedly sexually abused a child at Boys Town. Between 1960 and 1962, Reverend, I can't even say this name, it's super fucking Polish. I'm not even going to try.
Let me see it. Aloysius
Pierskowski.
Pierkowski.
Anyway, this reverend, he allegedly sexually abused a 13-year-old child at Boys Town. In 1970s, Reverend James Kelly allegedly sexually abused residents at Boys Town. Church authorities were allegedly aware of the abuse but failed to act. So if you were a victim of Boys Town, you should reach out to this law firm.
Fucking, if you have mesothelioma from Boys Town, you should definitely reach out. What the fuck? So it's just a giant rape school.
Yeah.
School, quote unquote.
Girl, it's a giant rape school, and we have all this evidence going back all the way to what? The fucking 60s? And literally our own government was researching this in the 80s. This could have been stopped fucking years ago.
And then still donating to it today.
Our U.S. government is still donating
That's fucking crazy.
To this day. Now, if anybody goes to Boys Town or has children going to Boys Town or something, and I am severely ill-informed, please come let me know. But I'm gonna challenge you a lot if you do.
Right.
Fair warning. Because what the actual fuck, guys?
Okay, so the other part of this all is that happened kind of recently. You were saying like 2015, 2017.
2025, this fool fucking died. The claims are just coming out, right? It's still happening.
Has your TikTok been flooded with Haley Beck, the female teacher in
I didn't know her name though,
but
yes, yeah.
Okay, my shit has been completely like taken over by her and Angela Berlocca, which, whatever, they did horrible fucking things and they need to be prosecuted and blah 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 and go to prison and stuff. My thing that I'm getting at right now though is that these are other female teachers and I'm hearing everything about it and they're getting in trouble, but then there's this laundry list from Boys Town and silence.
Nothing's happening.
Don't hear
and they're
shit.
saying, look another way. Boys Town, Erin, when I did all of this research, my blood was boiling, right? I'm like, just fucking typical. And I'm so mad because I'm so tired of it. And this whole Epstein thing, I'm realizing it's not, and I've always been saying, it's not just Epstein, it's way bigger. But I'm realizing it really is way bigger and it really is still going on. And I just really did find the evidence of that, you know? Like, on my own, on accident. Wasn't even trying to look for it. I was just like, whatever happened to Boys Town? And then it sent me on a whole other thing that I could do a whole other fucking podcast about. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
why are there so many Epsteins?
I am a stay-at-home mom, okay? And I just happened upon this on accident. It wasn't
the government
even that hard. Yeah, you cannot convince me that we don't know. So then I get really angry. Like, when we go around, we have to still participate in this world for some stupid reason. And I'm like, but what are we going to do? And I'm such a doer that I'm like ready to do it. Like, what is it going to be? What has worked?
Right.
In our favor. And I can't find that anywhere.
I was going to say, we don't have anything that's worked in our favor.
I know, and I'm so mad about it.
Because you can try and go vigilante, but you'll just be perp walked and...
You'll turn into a Luigi Mangione, or you'll turn into a fucking Charlie Kirk guy that I don't even remember his goddamn name right now because I'm so fired up.
Yeah.
Crooks. Something like that, right?
I don't know his name, actually.
Oh my gosh. It's so frustrating. And then it's like you start to see like we really are in an episode of The Truman Show, you know? Like, and it's all a fucking lie.
This weird fucking curtain that they're like, I don't know, put this mist over everything, this fog of fucking confusion over everything.
And like when I do my own research, I really start to get that, like, I don't want to call it a confirmation bias because I really do try to look at all of the information. But that's what ends up happening is I get confirmed on all of this shit. And then I'm like,
how has no one else done that?
How is no one else?
How is little old you?
I know. And then when I get insane, like it's literally unhealthy when I'm like telling people in my life, like, dude, it's so crazy. I really kind of think this like Franklin scam or whatever, any of it, this Epstein stuff, I really think it's all tied. And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, I will punch you in your throat because one, I'm a woman. So for you to tell me that you don't believe me immediately... And you drool. Like, get out of here, okay? And then also...
Have you ever seen your face when you're asleep?
Also...
You don't deserve to talk to me like that.
Did you spend fucking 25 hours this week researching legitimate case files?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not reading this shit from Reddit. Some of it I am, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of claims on Reddit that people say that this place is awful. I didn't give you any of those details.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they're true.
Yeah.
I told you all the shit that I believe to be true.
Right.
You know, like... And if I'm weeding those out and giving you, like, how can you still not believe me? And you're my friend. Like, I'm trying to not take this shit personally, but it gets personal where I'm like, I put a little marker in my head of like, okay, that one's kind of an idiot. Because like if any of my friends came to me, I guess it would depend on which one. If it was a dumb one, maybe they think I'm dumb. I don't know. But I think really people just don't want to face it, right? It's gross. And especially if you're a man, you're like, oh, it's the Me Too movement all over again. You're like, it's fucking children. Like literally fucking children.
Yeah.
Stop.
But also, it's the Me Too movement all over again is a fucking wild thing to say.
I know.
Because
the Me Too movement is real.
Is Me Too.
And it's being called a fucking sham
Fucking
because that's
us
what they
too.
do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They try to discredit your victims.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, it was all fucking... And they do that by hiring people to muddy the waters and make stupid, crazy claims that aren't true. I mean, there was a whole
I fucking hate this planet. I'm ready to get off.
I hate it too. Just think about how widely publicized the Johnny Depp trial were and Amber Heard. We were all eating our popcorn. I want to see it again. But what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Why is it being sold as
Entertainment?
And we're all rooting for Johnny. And like, she's a bitch, right? But she's supposed to be a bitch. That was her role. Like, what are we doing? I'm so mad. I don't know.
Goddamn.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. That's a lot. And I don't like it.
No, it's awful.
And I'd like to excuse myself from it.
So, if you guys want to check out pictures pertaining to this case or whatever the fuck we conjure up, you should go to our social media. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. Our handle is at ISGD Podcast. If you want to support your two favorite podcast hosts, you should join us on Patreon, where we offer 3 different levels of subscriptions where you get different content. Like for $1, you get an extra episode every month and access to all of our back episodes. Or for $7, you can get unedited audio if you want to be a part of whatever the fuck happens to make this show. Or if you're like, audio's not enough, I need to see those crazy lady faces, then go to our $10 tier where you get access to unedited video. And we do this every week, so you're getting access to a shit ton of content.
Hell yeah.
And we would love you forever because it's what keeps us afloat. Also, if you want to email us, you could do that at isgdpodcast@gmail.com, or you can snail mail us at
P.O. Box 2764, Spring Valley, California, 91979.
Bye, guys.
Bye.